Welcome back, everybody, to the Academy Cooldown podcast. Wait, no, hang on a second. This is a bit different, isn't it? We're surrounded by a lot fresher graphics. Everybody, welcome to the rsc-eu channel. My name is Hodge. Joining alongside me is Masters, and it is time to kick off the Academy play-ins and get things underway. I mean, Masters, we've had an incredible season covering the Academy tier from at every sort of level, right? Podcasts, streams, and it's great to be able to kick off the show here today.
Yeah, we're definitely taking things to the next level in this lowest tier. Of course, as you mentioned, the Academy Cooldown podcast, the latest premiere to the Academy tier. Tick that off your bingo lists. And of course, look, it's a new season, 5 weeks long this time instead of the 9 weeks. It's made things a hell of a lot closer. Those sub games have been ever so important. You know, subs have had a bit more of an impact in where a team finishes up. And, you know, if we look across these two conferences, head-to-head has been more of an impactful thing as well with these 5-week seasons. These two teams, you know, rumor is that, you know, Unitox think that they may get beaten, but I think we could see nerds start to play a point. Of course, everyone from the Academy tier watching, those from the higher tier watching as well. And of course, everybody wants that, you know, that trophy emoji next to their name.
They certainly do. And you mentioned it there a second ago. Before we start getting into the nitty-gritty stats between these two teams, we obviously have some interaction with the community for the Academy play-ins and playoffs and postseason in general. We're playing some bingo throughout playoffs. So if you want a bingo card that you can, watch the stream and tick some stuff off, head over to Academy Discussion and you can find the bingo card there in the RSC Discord. But time to start talking about today and this matchup. Let's have a look at the schedule first of all and see what we have on show for us. Lastly, to close out our day later on is going to be Gedalian's Anubis taking on Nexus Origin in that upper bracket. And I know, Masters, you're going to be taken to the field for that one. But you're going to be in a scrim before that. And while that's happening, we're going to be having Shadow Haze playing the winner of this match right now, which is Unitox Xinjiang versus Team Serene Unito. Now, these two teams, this matchup, tell us a little bit about them, Masters.
Well, yeah, you look at these two teams, Unito made it with just the last gasp of their breath. Week number 5, they lost to DSQ and they thought it's quite close. I'm not quite sure if we're going to make it. And then out of nowhere, they got a 3-1 result against Vortic Riffle, which a lot of people was quite surprised by it. So they managed to scrape through. And then Unitox as well. We all basically assumed that they were going to be out and we'd see that 6th seed go to Brave. But by some miracle, Trickery were able to nab one game against Husky, which gave Unitox this opportunity. So, we could be on for something special this season. Imagine Unitox, as they did last season. Imagine they go on a lower run. They win the whole thing this time round.
Well, it would certainly be crazy. Now, as you can see on the graphic right now, it says that Unitox are 7th. They're not. It's just that the graphic doesn't take into account head-to-head. So Unitox were able to overcome Illusory Trickery on a head-to-head to make it to this point. They will have the 6th place spot against Serene, who have had a bit of a topsy-turvy season. Started off very, very strong and had a little bit of a fall-off towards the end of the season. So going to be looking to bounce back here and now. But we're about to kick things off, Masters. But before we do that, gotta need a prediction.
Yeah, so after just playing Serene, they're looking really warm. I'm going to have to back Unito here with a 4-1 win.
Okay, I'm going to go for a 4-2 here. I think Unitox randomly do just surprise, but I don't think it's going to be nearly enough to take down this Unito team. Give me 4-2 on this one. And yeah, let us know what you think in chat, because we've got a poll up as well. We've taken votes as well, community power rankings across the tier, to see who everyone thought would be winning this match. And we did about 20 brackets. One person said Unitox was going to win, and that was Hansen, who's a player on Unitox, who said they were going to sweep the whole bracket and win without dropping a single game, win the whole tier. So it's unrealistic, and everybody very much is with Serene as who they think is gonna walk away with this match, Masters. But I think that's everything pretty much. We've got a game to kick off, and we've got no better time to do it than right now. Let's head over to game number 1. We'll tell the players to join the field. The Academy tier postseason is about to begin.
Yeah, these two teams wanting to make an initial impact straight off from the get-go. You're playing for your championship life here. You can't afford to lose this series. One life and done. Neither of these teams were able to get top 3, so that's single life for anyone that is new to our knockout stages. And Zombie, last season was without a doubt probably the best player on Unitox. And this season, pairing up with QX again, they're looking to make a different outcome.
Yeah, it's a very different situation to what Unitox are used to after the upper bracket surged as they took the tier by storm in RSC 16. It's now fighting from the depths, trying to claw something, anything from this playoffs bracket, and so far so good here for both of these teams. No goals conceded, but no goals scored. That could change in a second, but the shot just goes a little bit wide there from Hansen, and the ball will ricochet back down the other side. Now, for anybody who's eager with the bingo and may have spotted, we've got a Merc on the field. We've got 2 Mercs on the field actually. So is that 3 actually? I'm not sure, but we've got Mercs. So that's one instantly ticked off. A non-standard car, and we might have a non-standard start to this as well, as no goals have found their way into the back of anyone's net just yet, Masters, which is quite rare to get about a minute and a half in an Academy game without a goal.
Yeah, surprisingly, no mistakes in the defense as of yet. And as we say that, almost managing to find the back of the net was Rai. Sends it along the back wall, Rai with a follow-up shot, and Serene. They will take the starting lead here in this series. The defense from Yin Yang just wasn't able to stabilize quick enough in order to get this ball clear. And as you mentioned, those 2 Mercs on the side of Yin Yang going for a slightly different approach from what you may expect in a competitive league. But it worked for Artcarp last season. He won the tier in a scarab. In a scarab of all things. A second goal almost here in game number 1. I personally think, other than that goal here for Serene, for me, Yin Yang look like they've come out as the stronger team.
Yeah, certainly. And this is where they get to show it. Hansen puts a shot on target. And this is what it's all about between, teams, between players. Game number 1 can always be a bit of an interesting one, Masters. It's where the stream nerves have to be settled. And I think you can already see from both of these teams, but by noticeably more, it is Unito who look like the shakier on the field. I mean, both of these teams have had their issues, and almost comes back to bite Unitox there as Rai puts a shot on target. But I mean, yeah, it's a little bit all over the place, and that is the case with every game 1 to kick off a play-ins in Academy.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we are in play-in, so of course teams will have the option for 2 timeouts here. They have a 2-minute tactical timeout and a 5-minute technical timeout. So it's going to be interesting to see in terms of those tactical timeouts when they're used. Does a team wait until there's a gap of 2 games to use it, or can we see a team use one straight away because they felt the first game should have been theirs? But it is Academy. Anything can happen. You end up losing that game from a whiff, or from, as we've seen a few times this season, an outrageous pinch.
Yeah, very much so. But ball is going to be hurtled down to the other side of the field. Hansen trying to find a double and slot the angle, but that's if you wanted that from Hansen, you maybe wanted to start looking, about 5 years ago. He's getting old now, but still kicking, still making runs into play-ins, into playoffs, and well, so is Dave the Rave as he gets it down to Vice there with a great pass and a great setup for Serene Unito. I mean, it was always going to start with an explosiveness to this series, wasn't it, Masters? But it comes off the form of a pass from Dave the Rave.
Yeah, great pass there from Dave the Rave down to find their captain, Vise. He, of course, as everyone knows, he made that executive call in, I believe, week number 4, where he said, you know what, we're going to release Asagi. I think that I'm going to be the better fit for this main team. And, you know, he's really stepping up to the plate. Since then, the team have really grown.
They've gotten time to say that.
Stronger. And as I say that, the curse comes out once more as we do find ourselves leveled up. Vise, why have you got to let me down like that?
I was going to say, he said that and he jumped and then thought, you know what, nah, I'm all right, thanks. But yeah, it's nice to see both teams starting to get into this one either way. I think this will be a closer series than people expect. I think Unitox are very good at just pulling a game out of their hat randomly. And I think that comes with the experience of having, you know, players who know how to play around each other, like Hansen and Zombie here. But it's about producing that same level on the pitch when needed. Zombie looking to get this one in the field. Can't quite get past Vice, who instantly challenges that. But that's a bit of an awkward touch from Autocarp. Dave the Rave going to collect, take it up to the sky, but there's very limited boost to work with. He might not need it, but Rai can't quite slot the follow-up touch as Serene swarm around this net.
Yeah, a little lack of concentration there from the side of Serene. Plenty of chances to find the back of the net. The rotation's just a little bit too deep. I feel that if they apply a little bit more pressure there, they could even see themselves winning this series currently 3-2. But nevertheless, the defense from the side of Yin Yang, has been strong. You know what? I just need to stop. I just keep casting these teams.
Well, welcome back to the RSC casting booth, Masters. It's been a while. What a fitting reintroduction.
Yeah, if you look at both these teams here, a good bit of an attack from the side of Serene. As I spoke about, they applied that pressure when it mattered the most. We could maybe even see a 4th goal here. What a ghost touch that was.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely brilliant here for the likes of... Was that a ghost touch or did you just miss it?
I'm sure he ghost touched that. I heard it. I'm pretty sure. Guys, am I going to see now? Unk status?
I think it might be. I don't know. Who knows? But regardless, it's 2-0 lead here for Serene. And they're going to be quite happy with that as a game number 1 for them. I know your prediction of this earlier, I think it was you said this, Masters, was that you thought that Unitox might get a bit of a strong start in game number 1 and then Serene would sort of pick up the slack as the series went on.
Yeah, 100%. I thought Unitox would come out a little bit stronger. I think with the side of Serene, I think the nerves may have kicked in. As you saw in week number 5, that lost to DSQ. And then I think as, you know, maybe the tactical timeout comes out and then they stabilise from there. But they've completely disproved that as they take game number 1, 4-2.
They do. Team Serene Unito fire the first salvo here in the play-ins round 1. And 3 wins needed here for them to move forward and, and take down Unitox Xinjiang. Moving on to play against Shadow Haze on stream right after this. And for anybody who is just joining us, this is the play-ins. This match plays directly afterwards against 4th seed from the Ignis Conference, Shadow Haze. So you might win this one, but it's not going to be. You're not going to be out of the woods just yet. That's certainly for sure.
Yeah, they definitely won't be in the clear. But you know, if they do get the momentum here that they really need, then you know there's that painted curse that everyone says about being 4th seed. You don't really get a strong warm-up. You've come up against a team that's already been on stream for the previous series. You know, they've had real game experience. You know, there is a difference between a scrim and a series, as much as Tingley, the scrim champion, disproves that, or tries to anyway. Being on an actual series on stream, the environment's so much different. And I think with Unito, they carry on with this pace, then, you know, you'd like to think they would go on and, you know, take Haze as well. It's very rare 4th seed will win that series, but we did see it last season with Trickery.
Yeah, well, Scrim World Champions, preseason World Champions. At the end of the day, though, what matters is becoming playoffs world champions, I guess, if you want to use that title. And that's still quite a while away. But for the time being, it's focusing on the play-ins, and these two teams, regardless of who wins, you know, they're going to have a long run if they want to start making it to a lower final, to a grand final, to crowning themselves champions. It all starts here. It all starts now. And it all starts with Zombie waking up, which thankfully 20 minutes before the game he was able to do. So while Team Serene have scrimmed, and I think that very much showed in game number 1, they came out the better side. Unitox might take a bit of time to warm up into this one, but when they get going, certainly can be a force to be reckoned with.
Now, Hodge, I've just realised that both of these teams have a player on their roster that has the capability of becoming a back-to-back champion. Now, one of them will have their journey finish here, because we've got, of course, Milwaukee on Team Serene as their sub, and then Ottercup, you know, who was on Aspire last season. Maybe, just maybe, we see Mill come out and put the stake in the coffin for Ottercup. I think that would be limbs.
It would. it would certainly be pretty funny to watch. Will we get a Milwaukee on the pitch? Who knows? But for now, we're into game number 2, and there's been nothing just yet for either side. That could change, but Dave the Rave has to make a goal line stop, and does. But yeah, back over to the defensive side here for Unitox Xinjiang. They are forced to sort of, I guess, you know, start putting some shots on target here, but they could be forced into defense very quickly unless Zombie collects that. He's going to be taken off the field there. Right, are we really waiting on back boost?
Well,
That could be a free ball.
I was going to say, Yin Yang, they're rotating a lot deeper. I think they've noticed that this Serene side like to try and put pressure on the ball. So I think Yin Yang are going for the counter-attack approach as they double commit. Vise misses. We are in prime academy territory. And I think Yin Yang, you know, considering we're, you know, almost halfway through this game number 2,
that's a great touch.
they've adapted really well, and they get the lead. For all of their hard work defensively, they do indeed counter-attack and find goal number 1 in game number 2.
Yeah, that's a great 50 there from Zombie to set up Ottercup for that final touch there at the end. Unitox Xinjiang taking the lead in game number 2, but we saw that as well at points in game number 1, I believe. They weren't able to hold on to it, and now the pressure's circling back the other way. Team Serene looking to put a shot on target, but it's a double commit there from Unitox to get that one cleared. This is going to alleviate some of that pressure, though, as there's a lack of Serene presence rushing to try and collect that ball. Unitox, once again, giving a lot of space here to Team Serene, though. And you can see Zombie instantly there for the counter-attack. Going to get bumped off the play, but it shouldn't be much of an issue as as Prime Academy ball strikes again.
Yeah, you look at Vise, isn't able to make contact with the ball. Right, goes to make the touch. A bit of miscommunication. Ottercup's never going to miss these. You would hope at least he wouldn't miss these. And now a bit of a cushion here for the side of Yin Yang, who are looking to take game number 2 and tie this series up. If these two teams do carry on going yin for yang, we could be starting off the night with a nice little game 7, Hodge.
I like that one. We'll see. We'll see. It's a long way away still, but yeah, I get what you mean. Xinjiang certainly looking like they've, you know, woken up here a little bit and had that morning coffee. But Dave the Rave's going to look to fire a shot back the other way. Zombie, that's a great save, and Hansen is diving in for the follow-up. Great sort of cut there to help Zombie out and allow Unitox a breakthrough here from the defensive side. Vice is going to wait on that back ball, but that's a horrible touch there, and Rai has to come in and pick up the pieces. Team Serene Unito. For me, the big question here in this series is, are we going to tilt out of the situation? Because this team's mental at times has been some of the worst I've heard of in the tier, and that's not going to help.
Yeah, I think Serene need to slow it down, because Yin Yang, as I mentioned earlier, they've done a Chelsea. They've parked the bus and they're allowing Unito to push them. But I don't think Unito have realized that, because they are just trying to bang the ball down and then apply pressure. But Yin Yang are sitting there, they're ready, they're waiting for that ball. And we've seen yet again another counter-attack goal come out from this Unitox side. I honestly think if you're Serene, I'd be considering using my timer after this game, because it's just it's not going right, and I think the team need to have a little chat about where they're going wrong.
I don't think they will, though, and that's purely because in situations like this, it's quite difficult to understand where you're going wrong. You see the series score, and that's about it, which, you know, for them is even. So they'd be inclined to just keep on going and see what happens. But I think this series is going to be a very momentum-based series. I think it's going to be a question of who tilts first, if I'm honest, Masters.
Yeah, I know a thing or two about tilting, as everyone knows. Zombie here is able to get that save at the front post. QX is going to be able to take this one over. Looks for Artcarp in the middle. Is going to be dispossessed here by Rai. Goes up for the second ball, isn't able to make contact. So Zombie is going to have time, going to kill a few seconds extra just to give Unitox that breathing room. And once again, the defense here from Unitox, all the players are back. They're all in a position to dive for the ball if needed. And Unito really can't get things going here in game number 2. They're going to have 60 seconds after this to reset, but maybe they opt to go for a little bit more time. Either way, things need to change if they want to find themselves back into this series and, you know, finding the back of the net, Hodge.
Yeah, very much the case. Unitox and Xinjiang take game number 2 here in this series and level the scoreline. That was a very different story to what we saw. And well, I was having a look at the scoreboard, seeing if we were going to get anywhere close to an under 50-point game there for the bingo card, but not quite yet. But you know what? I want to see. Masters, do you think we're going to get a Milwaukee game of Rocket League today at any point?
I think the only way we see a Milwaukee game is if Team Serene go up with a 2-game gap. I think at that point, they'll feel it's worth the risk of giving him 1 game.
Because I said he was considering doing it.
Yeah, I don't think they would risk their seeding, or sorry, their place in postseason by playing Mill. I think they would need at least a 2-game gap in order to consider it. And with this, you know, currently with this being the score at 1 apiece, they're going to need to win the next 2 if we're going to see prime Milwaukee appearance.
Well, is he let lock? Are Unito let lock? Are Xinjiang let lock? It's time to continue the next chapter in this series and see who's going to fire next. DFH Stadium for game number 3. Well, I mean, let's see. Have Serene made the adaptations necessary? Or are Unitox going to continue from going from strength to strength? And Hansen, that's a brilliant shot to kick things off.
Yeah, a great start here from the side of Yin Yang. QX banging that one on the floor. Makes it slightly awkward for Rai. Unable to tell whether that one's clanging off at the crossbar or going in the top corner. Unfortunately for Unito, that has ended up in the back of the net. But even more so, Hodge, as you mentioned, in terms of, you know, the first team to sort of tilt will find themselves at risk of this series. If you're, you know, Unito, you've won that first game, you know, you felt comfortable, 2-goal difference. You then go into game 2 and you think, right, we've got a little bit of momentum here, let's carry it on. You then lose 3-0. You then go into game 3 and you concede within the first 10 seconds. Maybe those doubts start to creep in on the Serene side. Maybe the communication comes a little bit delayed, or the call isn't quite what you want it to be. It's going to show real mental reserve here from Unito to see if they can get back into this game.
Yeah, I would give it an 100% chance that whoever loses this series, I'll hop in VC with someone from this either team later on tonight, and it'll be, oh, we tilted out of the series, and that's why we lost it. I would give that an 100% chance that that's going to happen for either side. The question is, who's it going to be? And I mean, right now, Unitox are looking like they're in a better spot. Serene look a little bit awkward, and they look like they don't trust each other in a lot of the circumstances that we're seeing here. We've seen double commits, we've seen over commits. We need to see some passing plays getting connected, and that's a great setup there from Rai, but Vice wasn't really on the same page, and well, thank goodness Dave the Rave was up for that, because that could have got interesting otherwise. Rai a little bit far forward here, going to have to sort of collect the pieces, but yeah, both of these teams, it's punching back and punching forward, and I mean, you know what, when we look at this Unitox team, right, Masters, I mean, 30 minutes ago, we were wondering if they were even going to be here today.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm completely shocked of how they've come out, and that's just in.
Oh.
I was honestly about to compliment them of how defensively sound they have been as a unit, and then they go and concede that. They have done so well to absorb the pressure. and then they concede that.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes, isn't it? It's overcommitting for 1 single second, and then the open net is granted. But how can Zombie take it away down the other side? It's a great setup, and it's all you can expect from one of the best ground players in the tier. And Hansen as well always knows how to get it done on the follow-up. It's the duo connecting for Xinjiang, and it's the lead back in their hands.
Well, we even had doubts ourselves. You know, we both backed Unito to go on and win this series.
Everyone in the tier did.
Yeah, and
not a single person backed Unitox to win this series.
This honestly just goes to show everyone that you cannot predict Academy at all, let alone from, you know, league performance. Doesn't matter whether you've got the most goals in the tier or you've conceded the least. It's all about how you play when it matters the most. And Yin Yang are really turning up. Will they be able to replicate this every series? Obviously, that's yet to be seen. They've got to focus on this one first. But based on their current performance, they are giving Serene an absolute run for their money. Well,
Serene is a team that have been questioned a lot this season, most notably Vice's decisions as the AGM of this roster. Obviously, they had Viscrid as their sub in preseason, and he was cut for Asagi, who was brought in. And there was questions of that, you know, given how good of a player Viscrid is known to be in that sub spot. The Asagi thing didn't work out. Vice then put himself as main roster and picked up Milwacker as the sub. More questions were raised. So there's been quite the sort of, I guess, social pressure from the Academy tier on this Unito team throughout the entire season to show that the changes that they're making are worth it. And as the season's gone on, to be honest, the results haven't really backed that. They started off pretty well. They had a decent mid-season. People looked at this team as, you know, one of the teams that could take it, one of the teams that could crown themselves as champions potentially if they made that top 3 bracket. But final couple of weeks, things started to fall away. And to be honest, Masters, I thought Team Serena ended up being lucky to clinch the top 6 spot.
Yeah, they obviously needed that result against Vortic, and you know, maybe they had the essence of Milwaukee on their team. They let lock just when it mattered the most, but they have to remain let lock if they are to be able to take this. And it's a great opportunity here. It's Dave the Rave, who had an absolute takeover performance for Serene against Vortic in week number 5, is able to find this equalizer and relieve a little bit of pressure on the shoulders of Unito.
Yeah, take a little bit of that pressure off. It's a great pop-up there from Vice, and the finish even better from Dave the Rave. Oh, not again, not again, not again. Academy! Prime Arcade Ball.
Is it RSC-18 yet?
Not quite. We've got a playoff bracket to get through first. But Unitox, Xinjiang continue to claw back the lead every time you need to get a sniff of it. It's a takeover that comes right back the other way. A minute left on this clock, and Vice is going to get dusted to the ball there by Ottercop, the man in the murk here. And, well, Zombie's going to pop that one middle. It's a race to the ball to see who wins it now. The net wide open. You've got to get that one middle, and the passing option is there for Vice to shoot it low, but Ottercop sees it coming, and this should allow Zombie to punish down the other side. The counter-attack played to perfection by Unitox as they capitalize on the mistakes of Team Serene Unito.
Yeah, and you can't help but wonder. Their counter-attack plays, it's working for Yin Yang. They don't need to change anything. A clean sheet in game number 2. Can we call it a takeover performance in game number 3? They've certainly been the strongest side without their faults. And Unito now 40 seconds away. A 3-goal cushion to the side of Yin Yang. Surely we see that timeout called from Unito after this. Before this series, Hodge, we even had Hansen saying, I imagine you guys are going to sweep us. You know, we'll be happy if we take a game. We're not too bothered about what the result is. We're not expecting much from the team. They're 34 seconds away from being in the lead of this series.
I have to say it's great for me to see that Ottercop's coming alive here in this series as well as a player, because I know there's been a little bit of back and forth on this Unitox team as to who they want that third to be coming into the playoffs. I know Hansen obviously wanted to stick with Ottercop. Zombie wanted Miles 9 to be the third coming into the playoffs as he felt he gelled better. But Autocarp has certainly been, coming alive in this series, and so has Hansen as well. It's been a whole team effort from a team that has no right to be playing like a team effort, given the events of the previous 30 minutes. But yeah, 6-2 in Game 3, Masters. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better than Xinjiang. And now I'm looking at Team Serene right now, and I'm thinking, we're going to play the game of how's your mental.
Oh, my favorite game. I love How's Your Mental.
Do you?
I love How's Your Mental. Probably not very good mental.
As well.
Probably not the best, but this Unitox team, I'm starting to feel something special about them. They've turned up, and they're not looking like a team that's finished 6th seed. I'll say that now. They look a lot stronger than me, you, or anyone probably could have predicted. I'm probably sure they're sitting there thinking, guys, what are we doing? How are we up in this series? I'd be worried about you.
Rip production a lot in chat, so I'm assuming our mics are not working. So we love that. But yeah, into game number 4 we go. Hopefully we have rejoined you here and now. Are we back? Who know? We're back. Okay. Yeah. Game number 4, we yapped a load of pointless stuff. Apparently the mics aren't working in the camera scene, but I'm sure Raids will get that all sorted. But yeah. Game number 4, Team Serene Unito, Unitox Xinjiang. A crucial game here for Unito, as it is essentially backs against the wall fully for them if they drop this game number 4. I'm very surprised they didn't take a timeout there, Masters, but they're looking like they're going to come back at things here as they try to put a shot on target already. Going to be blocked out, and Zombie going to be bumped off the play. But yeah, a very crucial match in game number 4.
Yeah, Unito must have absolute confidence in what the team's able to pull off and, really perform with their backs against the wall. I think what's really crucial, especially with them not calling that timeout, Unito have to score that first goal. If they don't score this first goal, then they've completely wasted their chance to even regain as a team. And it looks as if that first one is going to go to the side of Yin Yang. Zombie with a lovely slot from the middle. Open net, the hardest shot in Academy. He doesn't miss it this time. And now the clock is starting to tick for Unito. Vecna's coming to get them. They may not be here much longer.
Certainly the case. The last sort of semblance of Serene could be on the cards unless whatever we just saw happens. I've got no idea how that's anywhere close to open. But Hansen not quite able to get the read of the play right. Rai in the perfect spot to punish. And it's Primark ball once again.
I do not know how Hansen plays with the carriage wheels, but somehow it is working for him. It's Cristiano's or nothing for me. But it's working for Hansen, as is the mobile hotspot. He's done it last season. He's doing it again this season.
No excuse.
No excuse. Maybe, just maybe.
Come on, Ethan. No excuse.
Maybe this team is the Baba Yaga of the lower bracket, because they just seem to do so well in the lower bracket.
Maybe the case. And for now, we know a definite, and that Zombie's caught this ball, and he's trying to get it infield there to Autocarp. Will be blocked out momentarily, and it's a great accidental save by Rise. He's bumped into it almost and keeps it away. Autocarp will stay poised and positioned on this side already to keep this play going as Hansen looks to reapply the pressure. And I have to say, having played against this Unitox team myself this season, they are just a very weird team to play against. They play such a unique play style in Academy, and it just catches teams off guard, Masters. It really does. And I feel like, as you can see here, Serena feeling the full force of it, as we're having two players have a bit of a scrap over the boost pad at the other side of the map.
I don't just love Academy. Two players fighting over a back boost when the other team is attacking on net. You just can't write this stuff on the script. That's one for the bingo card next season.
Oh no, Dave! Oh my goodness! Everybody's missing, and it will be the pieces picked up there in the end, but it is chaos across the board from both of these teams. Halfway through this, and it really feels like this game could go either way. I know a lot of people thought this game would be Serene wiping the floor with Unitox, but it's proving to be otherwise, and Unitox are looking to do, what everyone predicted, pretty much in reverse to their opponents. I mean, they win the next couple of games. I'd say this has been quite a dominant series overall.
Yeah, this just goes to show that you can't count a team out just because of where they've placed. The beautiful thing about, Academy Ball is that on their right day, anyone can beat anyone. And it's looking here that as Ottercup goes flying past the ball, that Yin Yang are going to end up winning this series. But in order for them to do that, they need 2 more games. So, less pressure on them. Chance here for them to find that second goal here in game number 3. But it is going to be cleared once again by Unito, who look to have settled a lot more in this game number 3, Hodge. They look a lot more composed. Their placement's a lot better in terms of rotation. And Yin Yang aren't really able to get out of their half as much.
I'm interested to see if we see the likes of Unitox walking away with this series and holding on to their lead. They'd have to play against Shadow Haze next in the next series, who sort of, I guess, plays into things quite well in terms of play styles, as Ottercup puts in a second here and gains the lead for Unitox here. But yeah, Shadow, a very aggressive team. They love to dive into the play quite a lot. Unitox quite often are playing off of those counter-attacks there, Masters. So it's going to be an offense versus defense matchup if that were to be the scene for next series. But it's Serene who are going to try and deny that from happening, as Dave the Rave finds a block there onto Zombie's attempt, and Right, we'll try and get things going down the other side, but now the timer starts. Now the panic buttons start to be pressed here by Team Serene. Hansen, that's a mistouch. Right, you've got to slot this, and he can't quite do it.
Well, all those players in Glacier that said, oh, Ignis, that conference is terrible. None of those teams have a chance of winning it. We're seeing Ignis dominate Glacier at the moment. It's the exact same as last season.
Oh my goodness, start the narrative. I can't wait for Nexus Origin to slam Gadalian's Anubis later on.
Odds?
Odds? Who knows?
Odds? Who knows?
Oh no!
Oh no.
Oh, Unitox. They take a third goal, but it comes off of the AGM himself. Vice tries to make a last-second stop, and it just ends up in his own net. I think that one there is going to be very difficult to come back from, not just in this game, but mentally in this series as well. This well could be curtains in Game 5 for Team Serene, because this is looking like it's a very, very difficult mountain to come back from. But Zombie looks like he wasn't moving there for a second. Was he disconnected? I'm not sure, but he is back, and it looks like that timer is just going to tick down their Masters. Unitox Xinjiang, the surprise of the day here so far. They've started off very, very well, and it looks like they just come alive to a different level here in the playoff and play-in brackets.
Well, Unito now, it really is backs against the wall. They cannot afford to lose another map. Yin Yang are one away from placing higher than anyone had them. So, well, apart from Hansen, of course, he had faith in the team. And what I find so interesting, Hodge, there is still no call for a timeout from Unito.
Do you want my honest opinion on this? I would put it down to them probably forgetting that they have one, because a lot of teams do forget that they have a timeout. But yeah, it's an interesting scenario for sure. Unito not taking their timeout, and we're going to go full force into game number 5 here to see if this is the last game we see of Unito's season. What I find interesting here as well, it's one team who has been sort of moving their roster around quite a bit, Masters, trying to find out what works, and one team who's stuck with their roster for the whole season, for the majority, barring sub change. And yeah, they've stuck with it for the whole season, and they have made it work. Right, this is interesting. This is, I don't recall this being in the RSC map pool, but regardless, it looks like, oh, okay. Hang on. We're going to get a restart. We're going to get a restart. The producer did in fact crash. So we're going to get things set up again. I was going to say it brought us on to Deadeye Canyon, the normal map, and I know everyone hates that map, so we're going to bless everyone's eyes and hopefully move that away.
Yeah, Deadeye Canyon, probably not the best map to put Unito on, especially with how this series has been going for them so far. But this could be the cooling that they need. You know, a bit of an extended break between these games gives them a chance to sort of fix any issues that they may have going on with the comms. And if anything, it sort of hinders Yin Yang. They've got that momentum, and the longer we wait to get into this next game, this fifth game in the series, that can really impact Yin Yang in terms of carrying their momentum forward.
It could. It really could. And I guess in a sense, you need to get that timeout after all. Oh, well, they're going to be joining back into the lobby and we're going to be getting this one started. But it could all come down to, well, it will all come down to this for Unito. 3 games on the bounce or your season is done. And I mean, while they were able to ice up and claim their top 6 spot in week 5 in that final series, it's now another task that they're going to be asked of here, Masters. Go to game 7, get it done, and go straight into another series and fight for survival again, or it's going to be over.
Yeah, I think that's where you sort of see a little bit of fatigue coming. That's where 4 seed sort of does work out nicely, especially with this being a best of 7, whereas before it used to be a best of 5. A lifeline, I suppose you could say, for Unito. So taking 3 games now and then having to play another series straight after that does work into the favour of Hayes.
Do you want my honest opinion on that? I think this is that's a complete load of nonsense, respectfully, in a sense of with how long playoffs can go on for. I think if you're using fatigue as an excuse in the play-ins, then you deserve to be out because it's 2 series, isn't a scrim.
Yeah, completely fair. I think it's more for the newer players that probably aren't used to the length. I mean, you've got a bunch of unks on the field at the moment. All these players have experience. They've been here before. They've done it. They've walked the walk. Maybe not all of them talked the talk, but you know, Yin Yang currently got 3 veterans on their team, I suppose you could say. Well, at least 2. Zombie's a bit of a novice still in terms of the RSC competitive scene, but with Ottercarp and Hansen, they've been around both for a while. They know what they're doing. They know what it takes to get the job done, and they're showing that here currently in game number 5.
Yeah, I know you sort of mentioned there that Unitox have got players who've been there and done it before. Last season, 3 players who were on opposite sides in the grand final. 1 saw success, the other 2 didn't quite, but they all know how to show up in these playoff situations. Team Serene, not the same case, as it's a demolition derby in the defense here for Xinjiang as they're trying to dig themselves out of the incoming pressure that Serene have already been able to find in this early game. And Dave the Ray is going to put a shot towards net. Ottercarp is awkward. Team Serene have some life here in game 5.
Yeah, great shot from Dave off the sidewall, managed to direct it straight to net. Ottercarp couldn't quite read that. I think maybe even went over the lip of the goal. And that gives a very much needed lifeline to Unito here. A minute gone. Question is now, can they hold on to this, or are they gonna, sort of let it slip? And Rye's gonna double their lead here, silencing me. Is there like a joke that I'm not aware of? Will we just cast a Kirsten Masters today? Like, I know I'm back on the booth, but I can't predict anything right.
Who knows? Who knows? Well, it's a 2-0 lead here for Serene. They look like they could well be in the driver's seat of this game. And this is an opportunity that you have to seize, as Dave the Rave's going to try and double that one central. Rye also popping it mid, and that one might just fall in, but no, Zombie. It's a great stop there. But the passing play, they've got to watch out for it down the other side. Ottercarp not quite connecting.
Yeah, with a minute 30 gone here, Unito given that opportunity to settle into this game even more. They want to make sure that they're not pushing up as hard as they have been previously. That's something that they've adjusted to as well. As we saw Yin Yang between games 1 and 2, They're sitting back that little bit further. They're going for these counters. A bit of a kerfuffle there in the defense for Yin Yang. Rai's going to send this one onto the back wall. Dave's going to cut the rotation here and leave this one for Vise. 0 boost in the tank. So they're going to have to leave this one, and they're going to give the possession here over to Yin Yang, who are pushing forward as a team, looking to find that first goal back into it.
Certainly are. Well, Dave going to try and stay with the play here. Zombie gets the pop over his head, and Hansen's trying to intervene, but there should be a relatively free touch there for Team Serene, at least into their corner where the pressure shouldn't be as, you know, devastating to deal with. Hansen going to try and not make that so, but as Dave the Rave misses that touch, now things start to get a little bit more awkward. Ottercarp on the ball, tries to sort of play that fake, and Dave's just going to collect this one off the ceiling. He's been such a dangerous player all season from above, and so is Rai, but the connections are not hitting for Serene when they need them the most. They have that 2-goal advantage to work with, but for how long? Zombie has flicked it past, can't quite find the shot though.
And that looks as if it's going to be a third here for Unito. Dave the Rave just getting that little extra touch needed to send it home. And now we're seeing, as we saw in game 2, a 3-0 lead here for Unito. Could we start to see the tables turn? Could we start to see a little bit more hope from Unito and push us towards a game number 6, Hodge?
We'll see. We'll see indeed. And Hansen doesn't want a game number 6. It is a fight for survival for Unito, and Unitox are going to make them work for it.
Yeah, great bit of positioning there from Quebec, sitting in the middle, manages to get the ball low and into the goal. And with 2 minutes, they've still got plenty of time to work with. I think that there's more pressure here on the side of Unito than there is of Yin Yang. I know Yin Yang are currently losing here in this game number 5, but they have that option to lose the game. Unito doesn't. They have to make sure that their defense is resilient. They have to make sure that their rotations is on point. Rai unable to get that one off of the back wall, so it's going to fall to Vise, who is to be able to bang this one over to Zombie. And again, you're seeing it from Unito, that much more of a deeper defensive rotation. It seems to be working out for them, because now it's forcing Yin Yang to push up.
Certainly the case. It will be Zombie who brings it over to that sidewall there. And it's going to be absolutely dunked on the play there by Hansen. It's an attack brewing for Unitox, but they're not going to really be able to score off of this. You can see Serena trying to park the bus, and Vice almost gets a horrible touch there, but is bailed out by his teammate. But for how long? Because Ottercarp is waiting front and central for the tap-in. It's a minute on that clock, and Team Serene, it is a test of their ball here, Masters. It really is.
Yeah, that touch from Zombie off the sidewall places it nicely into the middle. Vice caught unaware, no boost in the tank. Not really able to make it a challenge here. And as you mentioned, their bottle will now be tested. 50 seconds remain on that clock. All they have to do is keep the ball in the Yin Yang half. They have to make sure that possession is challenged at all times. They want to make sure that they force a game number 6. And a game number 6 is well and truly on the cards. A mistake down one end, justice down the other for Vise as he finds the 4th goal here for Unito. And we're set up for somewhat of an exciting series here, Hodge, as we're looking at game number 6, maybe even 7.
Don't even. I'm not going to play into that. But yeah, it has been an interesting game number 5 for both of these teams. Xinjiang have looked like they've needed to pick up the pieces in certain scenarios, and it's Ottercarp to answer the call once again. There when his teammates need him the most, but what a pass down from Zombie to bring it back into the realms of reality with 27 seconds left.
Unito once again on the line between forcing a game 6 or crashing out here in game 5.
Oh no.
Gets it into the middle.
Oh, no.
Right, misses. Nice line. He saves it for them. 15 seconds left on the clock here. Unito so close to forcing a game 6. Yin Yang so close to forcing overtime. A save on the line. 5 seconds here. Surely we don't go to overtime now.
Well, when you need somebody to set the example, it's the AGM of Vice who answers the call here for Serene, for Unito, and for a game number 6 between these two teams. Now we start to see the bar slowly move back towards a central point, Masters. And game number 6 is what stands in the way of the series score being level once again between these two teams. And it could very well go down to that decider. We know what Unito can do. We've seen it before. And now they've just got to produce it here on the field. A brilliant way for them to hold on to things here in game number 5. But now it only gets tougher as the series continues.
Yeah, I mean, you look at these scoreboards, it really goes to show us, one save for Vise in that game. And that save happened to be the most important thing he did that entire game. It stopped the OT from being forced onto Unito. And now they have a chance here to do something that we pretty much counted them out from doing. We basically said at 3-1 now, we think it's done here. We're now looking at a potential Game 7 on the cards, should Unito go on and take this game number 6. Of course, is going to be Neo Tokyo. It was an epic save from Vise, but can Unito be epic in themselves and force this Game 7, Hodge?
Well, I'm not sure if our producer has crashed again. There we go, he's back in. And we're going to get things restarted here, I believe. Both teams ready to go. Both teams fighting for everything at this point, because if Unitox lose this game, it goes the distance. It goes to Champions Field. It goes to Game 7, Masters. But game number 6 on Neo Tokyo, a crucial one, and one that Team Serene have to win.
Yeah, of course, Serene, with that game number 5 win, will have that little bit of momentum. And I think them winning that game flips the pressure entirely onto the side of Yin Yang, because they had that cushion. But it's not there anymore. If they lose this game, then it's sudden death for both these teams. And I think the team that's won those 2 games, to bring it back, to force that Game 7, Rai finding the first goal here, 30 seconds in. Unito are starting to steamroll. They're starting to get their mojo back. And if I'm Yin Yang, I'd be a little worried.
Well, as these teams do battle here across the hallowed halls of Neo Tokyo, it is known to ruin teams' seasons. Masters would know that all too well. But, I mean, it just looks like Team Serene have found a different kind of form here. They've got that first goal. That's going to start to build some confidence for them. And we know that this Unitox team is icy in Game 7s. They've done it before. Last season's lower final, the grand finals in the first series last season as they forced a bracket reset. We know what this team can do, but they've got to show it to us here as well, because the force will come straight back at them if they don't keep their wits about them.
Well, he's going to send this one onto the back wall. No one from Unito able to follow that up right now. Just over 40 boost in the tank. Going to wait for that 50. Comes in partially from UX. Isn't able to make anything from it. So Carp now in the Merc. Sends this one onto the back wall. Goes up for the double. Finds the double, but isn't able to find the back of the net. And Unito now are going to be able to push this one out with Rai. A quick rotation here from both the players on Yin Yang. And we're starting to see a few more double commits. A few more bumps from Yin Yang onto Yin Yang. And this is exactly what Unito want.
Yeah, certainly is. Dave the Rave going to try and control this one through the corner, and Autocarp's not been able to get a great connection, but nobody from Serene is willing to challenge this ball. That's going to give Zombie a way in, and it won't quite come up positive there for Unitox. But now Rai on the counter-attack, testing the defense once again. Zombie should be able to stay with this play, but it gets so much more awkward on the recovery, and Team Serene are looking to punish. And, you know, they're just being sort of stopped in their tracks here, Masters. The defense coming up again here for Unitox, but it's so awkward, and Vice is ready to make up for his mistakes.
And who says Academy isn't prime Acadball, isn't prime Carball, rather? This Unito side were down and out, but now they're leading game number 6. I think it's fair we start to consider that we're going to go to Champions Field. And then I think, once again, Hod, we're going to play our favourite game. How's your mental? Because if it does go to a Champions Field, surely we have to back Unito, right?
Well, we'll see. I don't know, with the experience that this Unitox roster's got, anything can happen, but Rai is wanting to send it the distance, and this whole Team Serene roster is coming alive at the right time to make that happen. Neo Tokyo is starting to crumble for Xinjiang, but how can they rebuild those walls before it all topples down and we open up Champions Field? I mean, it's just chaotic, isn't it? And it is just poetic that this is how Academy begins.
Well, it's clear that Unito have eaten their ramen this evening as a fantastic performance coming out from them here in game number 6. They'll be wanting to close down this game as quickly as they possibly can. They want to waste as much time as possible. And often by doing that, the best form of defense is offense. Right here, it's going to look for that fourth one. Sends it off the back force, off the inside of the post. A great touch from QX. No touch here, but somehow, some way, it does find the back of the net. And Unito are well on their way to forcing us to Champions Field.
I won't lie, I thought we were going to get a repeat of the game for the week 4 field of the week between Origin and Calidus there, but it is a 4-0 lead nonetheless there for Unito. I think this game's done and dusted. I think if you're Xinjiang here, you've got to take the time to sort of have a bit of an extra time out. You can fight back, you can do what you can try and put goals on the board, but this team's got the experience to do it in Game 7. They know it. They know what it's like to be under big pressure, and they've got to try and grasp onto what once was a big day for them only a couple of months ago at the end of RSC 16. But I mean, Masters, it has been a clash of titans, some would say, between these two teams, as the great sub of Serene would say, Milwacker himself. And at the end of it, one team's going to make it through, one team is not.
Yeah, I think for me, Yin Yang going into this Game 7, they need to make sure that this last minute of Game 6 is all about them. They need to make sure that they've got pressure on the ball. They certainly need to make sure they don't concede. And I think even a goal will really help sort of push a little bit more momentum onto their side. Goalless in Game 6, it's not how you really want to see yourself forced into a Game 7. It sort of adds that additional layer of pressure that neither of these teams want. But if Yin Yang can adapt, then I think we'll be for an absolute thriller in Game 7 on Champions Field.
Well, 30 seconds left on that clock. A 4-0 goal score for Team Serene Unito. Game 7 and Champions Field beckons as a fifth one is going to find its way in. Unitox look awkward. They look, a little bit all over the place. And Hansen's best attempt to make contact with that ball will just be dismantled by Dave the Rave. About 15 seconds left of this one, Masters, but it all feels like it's coming to a close with a Champions Field showdown.
Well, we did speak about this briefly on if we think we'd see a Champions Field. I said it'd be great if every series today did go the distance. But, more often than not, series team to be closed out. But this time, Academy is starting off with a banger. Hopefully, the next series goes to 7 as well. And then, Go the Lions close out at 4. But with Game 7 coming up here, this is going to be really interesting to see how the side of Yin Yang adapt. Because if they don't, then I think we're going to see a repeat of 6 and 7.
Well, it will go the distance. Unito prevail here on home turf, and they will gain a chance to fight for it all in Game 7. They will gain a chance to move forward in the bracket and not have their season come to a close here. But my goodness, when it matters, some players come alive and some players just show up. Rai, absolutely one of those players here. Both these teams still have a timeout, but nobody is rushing. Nobody is calling for it. So it looks like we could just be going straight in.
I believe we may potentially be doing a quick stream restart. We are just checking with production to see if that is needed. Otherwise, this has been an absolute fantastic series from both of these teams. I mean, you wouldn't think that QX5Z is playing on mobile data, would you? I mean, he's playing out of his skin for someone that feels that he may be at a disadvantage. But yeah, Champions Field, it really sets up for the spectacle that is RSC Academy. I really can't call this Game 7, but wouldn't just be the perfect way to go and have our first overtime.
It really would, and we will get that clash under the lights. Last season's Academy Grand Final was forced into a bracket reset as Zombie and Hansen took down Ottercarp to make it to a bracket reset, but now they share the same side of the pitch, and now they look to stay alive against a resurging Unito, who are looking to try and get past into the next round with a clash against Shadow Haze. It all comes down to this, Masters. It all comes down to 5 minutes on that clock.
Yeah, and I think the stakes and the belief for the side of Yin Yang have changed. You look at QX5Z now in the Octane, maybe a bit of belief that this team can actually make a run, but that's going to be halted briefly by Dave the Rave. Sends one on goal, right perfectly in the middle, finds the back of the net. Advantage to Unito. Yin Yang, how is your mental?
Well, I guess the closest comparison I can give to a deciding game here that, you know, they've experienced for Unito would be the preseason semi-finals. And I know people hate bringing up preseason, as Team Serene ended up becoming champions of it overall. But dare I say, they played a Game 5 best-of-5 series against MPB Shell and came out. They iced up at the end of that. And now they look to do so here when the stakes are so much higher, but still a deciding game nonetheless. Unitox, though, the core of that roster, and well, all the roster on different sides, know what it's like to be under the lights, and Hansen certainly does. He's been here a while, Masters, and well, when it has to, you know, when it has to get done, when the dirty work has to be done, he's there to pick things up. But it's a big mistake there by Serene, but massive respect for Xinjiang to capitalize on that one, and that's going to give them some passion. That's going to sort of reignite a flame, you'd think, after that Game 6.
Yeah, well, there were calls obviously at the start of the season that said that QX was, you know, inflated. He was boosty low. He's not going to be really worth his value. But, you know, he's starting to show that, well, just because I was this one time doesn't mean that I'm not worth at least a little bit now. You know, he's played fantastic this series. He's come up with those clutch goals, those clutch moments for this Yin Yang side. And of course, playing with Zombie again for a second season, they've got that chemistry. They've got that know-how about how each of them like to play. And as they push the ball forward here, minute 30 gone in this Game 7. It's about even. If that would have gone in, that would have been a disastrous own goal. But it's going to go down the upper end. Zombie's going to find goal number 2 for Yin Yang. I have no words, Dodge.
I don't know how he's been able to do that, but Zombie answers the call, and Zombie finds a flick over the defense to give the lead back to Xinjiang. I spoke to Hansen earlier on before this game, and he said if things started to get ropey, the strategy was he was just going to tell Zombie to go and demo, go and ball chase. It's what got them so far last season, and it's what might get them into the next round of RSC 17's play-ins.
Well, as we sit and we watch this spectacle, 3:13 on the clock, can Unito climb this hill once more? Zombie's going to be up early for this one. Going to try and put pressure on, hopefully looking to find a number 4. Right, is he able to carry this one down? It's going to fall nicely for Dave the Rave. He slots it home. And it's only been 10 seconds. Serene managed to drop that deficit down to 1. And this next 3 minutes, this next 3 minutes is going to be cinema, Hodge.
It really is. It really is. It's a shootout under the stars in our first game of the play-ins, the first game of RSC's playoffs in general, and Dave the Rave denied off the crossbar. Rai with the follow-up, it's great speed, but the shot just isn't there. Team Serene are going to have to go back and try again.
Almost a 4th there for Yin Yang. Dave the Rave, nothing in the tank, isn't really able to do anything here. Ottercarp is going to push this one forward. It's across the face of goal. QX is able to sneak that one in. The 2-goal lead reinstated for Yin Yang, and it was just a little bit too messy in the defense here from Unito, and it just goes to show you don't need mechanics.
It's a defensive collapse on the side of Unito. Rai creeps forward a little bit too much, and Unitox, they were able to punish. Rai's missed that touch. This opens the door for Hansen to find the 5th here, the 3-goal lead for Unitox, and they're looking for a date with Shadow Haze. in about 10 minutes time.
Well, it looks as if this could be the final curtain call for Unito. We're halfway through this 7-goal thriller. Could this be a tale of two halves?
Oh, not again. Oh,
It's going to be
no.
a stick for Yin Yang. And you can't help but feel, Hodge, the mentality on the side of Unito has to all be but gone. I can't see them finding 4. It's possible. But they fought so hard to find themselves into a game number 7. And it's all collapsed at the worst moment in time for them.
Is it going to happen again? We're not sure, but this is now an opportunity that Serene cannot squander. They've got to have some perfect attacks here, and Zombie's going to try and stop that from happening as he takes Serene's pressure point off the field. Dave the Rave gone, and Rai, not really a lot he can do with very little boost to work with. The demos come right back though as Dave the Rave there with the disruption. Vice knocking this one downfield, looking to try and follow up. That's a great double tap, a great center, but it's a little bit too fast and Dave can't get there in time.
Well, 150 here, chance here for Vice to find one back. He is able to do so.
There's no way, right?
49 on the clock. It is all possible, Hodge. We are watching Prime Academy. You look at Vortic DSQ. No one said a 5-goal lead was possible to come back from. Vortic did it. Unito have the capability to do so. But if they're going to do it, they need to go all out. They need to find goals in quick succession. Dave looks for a 4th. He isn't able to find it. If you're on the side of Unito, you have to be all out. You can't afford to allow Yin Yang to have the ball at all.
Absolutely. I hate some of these pre-jumps from Rai, if I'm completely honest. And I think Serene have caught themselves out of position a few too many times here in general. That's a triple commit from Unitox, but somehow it might work out. Rai looking to punish. Dave the Rave's looking for a pop, but it's just gone over the top of his head. A minute left on this clock. Rai missing the touch there. And Team Serene, you can be as fast as you want to the ball, but if you don't make the connections, it's not going to mean anything. They're looking to try and fight with everything that they've got, though. And Vice will catch out the final defender. It could well still be all to play for as Vice taps it over the top and it brings it back to only a 2-goal lead. Hold on to your hats, Academy.
Zombie unable to effectively execute the half flip, and it's opened a window of opportunity here for Serene. A minute on the clock. Pressure.
Oh, that's a horrible touch.
As seconds tick down. Dave the Rape here, 17 in his tank. Is going to look to try and carry this one. Is going to be dunked here by QX5Z. A pass into the middle from Ottercart, but no one there from the side of Yin Yang. And Serene have to put nothing but gas out for the next 40 seconds. Otherwise, their journey in postseason is finished. Dave the Rave does get a nice double, but no one there from Serene. He's going to keep this pressure, looks for a demo, goes into the middle. And I think it's just a little bit too little too late here from Unito. I think their season ends here, Hodge, unless a miracle happens.
Yeah, unless a miracle happens. 15 seconds left. It's been a battle of the priv here from both of these teams, a battle of friendship that took place on this field, but friendship means nothing under the big lights. And as that timer will tick down, Unitox Xinjiang put 6 goals past their opponents in game number 7 to come back from an absolute slam dunk game number 6 to hold on and move forward to the next round of the play-ins. What a series.
An absolute great series from both these teams. And what a spectacle to start off play-ins for this new 5-week season. At game number 7, I think both teams should be proud of how they performed. If you look over on that Yin Yang side, they've finished higher than everyone has placed them, apart from QX5Z himself. So maybe he's the oracle of RSC this season. It's going to be interesting to see how they perform now up against Hayes, who are a lot more of an aggressive side. They like their odd demos. They like to apply that pressure.
They certainly do. They certainly do. Well, it's time to have a look at who made the difference in that series, because there's many players you could pick out, but on this occasion it is Zombie, the man who woke up 20 minutes before the series, didn't scrim beforehand, didn't know if he was even going to be there, But the man who was MVP in every single series pretty much in Unitox's venture through the playoff bracket when they got second last season is here back yet again and looks to try and do the whole lower bracket run. I mean, it's a road of redemption, it really is, Masters. But it all starts here. And who knows? I mean, the Ignis Conference with a great display here in the first series.
Yeah, I think the mental from Otter Cup definitely would have helped the team there. You know, he's been there before, he's done it, he's won the tier. So I think, you know, that's that side now going up against Hayes. They've got some momentum under their belt. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what this team can do, especially if they make it through to that Saturday. Potential dark horse. Potential, very much indeed. There's a lot of potential there, but there's a lot more to come still today. Let's see if we can potentially pull up the schedule here, just so everybody knows what is still to come, because we've got 2 more matches here, Masters, and the next one is Shadow Haze versus Unitox Xinjiang. It's not over yet. They're not out of the woods. They're certainly not in the clear, like you said earlier. I mean, Shadow Haze as a team, before we start to even get on to that final matchup later on of Anubis versus Origin, and I get your thoughts before we send it to a quick break. What's this Shadow team like? They're interesting. I think if you can understand how they play and you can adapt to them, you can at times find yourself quite comfortable against them. I think coming up against a side like Shadow Haze, I think communication is going to be the biggest thing. Their rotations are a bit unorthodox, to put it politely. So it'll be interesting to see how this Yin Yang side can handle it. As we saw this series, they're quite prone to a demo or two themselves. So it'll be really interesting, and I'll be watching this one closely.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. And then lastly on that schedule, if we could pop it back up for just a second, is gonna be Gadalian's Anubis taking on Nexus Origin in that upper round 1 matchup. Masters, about the mentality coming into this series. Obviously, it's you and your team here. What's the thoughts ahead of it?
Probably not very good considering our scrim started 10 minutes ago. So they're probably waiting for me.
Oh, okay.
But the team mental's good. We're realistically looking at that we should be winning the tier. We've put a lot of effort in, we've put a lot of work, we've done the hours. It's just all about how we play on the day. We're not taking anyone for granted, game at a time, and whatever happens.
All right, well, that's all coming up later on. But next up, like I mentioned, is Shadow Haze versus Unitox Xinjiang. You won't want to miss it. Come back after the break.
This isn't just merch, it's what teams wear when they mean business. Every stitch, every print, every detail, made to perform. Trusted by the grind, from grassroots to championship halls. Build your team store. Wear the brand that wins. SpartanWare, trusted by the grind.
Well, what did we just see? A Game 7 between Unitox and Team Serene, and Unitox ended up walking away with the victory. Beeping Sheep, things only get more difficult for them though, because the next challenger stands in their way, and it's Shadow Haze, a team who was in the fight for top 3, was in the fight for upper bracket, and then they had a disastrous 4-0 loss in week 5 to MPB.
Honestly, Hayes have really had an up and down season. I remember the first couple of weeks they started in 10th, and now we're talking about some upper bracket. And then after that, they've reverted back to their early form, getting 4-0'd, getting stuck in that unfortunate 4th, but they've stuck with the same roster for virtually the entire time since pre-season. So I really do rate them for that, and I have no idea what we're going to be seeing from them, but I'm certain they're going to make it interesting.
Yeah, they certainly are going to make it interesting. As we have a look here, it's 4th versus 6th on the stats sheet. Like I mentioned last series, the 7th is a little bit of a bug on the stats. It doesn't show the head-to-head. So Unitox had the head-to-head win over Illusory Trickery. Therefore, they end up in 6th with Illusory in 7th. But yeah, two teams who you can only separate them really by a couple of wins, and that's the same for the whole of the Academy tier pretty much. But a really interesting matchup between both teams who Unitox like to play quite a defensive, quite a counter-attacky play style. Shadow are very much jump in, get the aggression going, let's attack and see what happens after that. So I'm excited to see how the play styles clash here, Sheep.
Honestly, yeah. If last series is anything to go by as well, I have a little look at the post-series stats as well. Both teams averaging over 3 goals per game. So mixing that with Shadow's aggression as well, I'm expecting, of course, because it's Academy as well, plenty more where that came from. I feel like it's just going to be a matter of who starts off better this time, because, of course, you've had Xinjiang with a better warm-up, but, of course, Hayes are that more unknown team. They've had a chance to see how Xinjiang can play. And before we do get into this, that does lead into how we both think this game is going to play out. So we'll start with you, Hodge. Who's going to win and how close?
I'd give it to Unitox 4-2. I feel like no matter who came through with a win here, I don't rate Shadow too highly as a team. I haven't rated them too highly as a team across the entire season, and to be honest, have no no clue how that roster of players is fourth place in the conference, respectfully. And I think a lot of people have agreed with us there. So I'm going to go 4-2 there to Unitox, but I'd be excited to see what Shadow can do. I think fourth seed is quite difficult to come up from a spot like that. What about yourself?
I'm going to mirror you completely. 4-2 Unitox. I think the momentum's going to be a little bit too much. And of course, having two of those runner-up Xinjiangs from last season carrying over, the only one missing is on that first seed playing on the Saturday in Pixel Glitch. But of course, in the likes of Hansen and Zombie, I feel like for some reason they are just a bit of a different beast going to the playoffs. So with that being said and done, it's time that we get into the second series of the night. So welcome to Manfield, everybody. We've got Hayes on one corner, Xinjiang on the other. So ladies and gentlemen, let's get to it.
Yeah, let's do that indeed. We'll kick things off here in round number 2 of the play-ins. Can it follow the similar sort of story that we saw last series where we went the whole distance? And it's the new resident Unk already with an aerial assault here onto Unitox Xinjiang. Mutschuk trying to find a touchdown field. But it will be sort of sent out there by Source. That's a great pop-up. Can Damo get on the end of it? It is a wonderful team play from Shadow Hayes to kick off game number 1.
Well, certainly silencing any and all haters in these first 18 seconds. Absolutely no quacks given from Damo there, slotting that one top shelf. 1-0 Hayes, 18 seconds in. And Unitox really do need a fast response here if they want to carry on any sort of momentum from last series. I mean, of course, we saw how they can bounce back with that 6-0 to Unito in game number 6, followed by the reverse 6-4 in game number 7. But this is a different team now. This is no longer Unito, who for some reason, every single academy seems to have an outlandish playoff run. But this is Xinjiang's story now. Well, them and Hayes. And as Daimo beats one, it's going to be left to Carp, who's going to bounce off the crossbar. That was going to be over his head as well. This could be 2-0. And courtesy of an own goal, that is exactly what's going to happen.
Well, if you hadn't already done it, take it off your bingo card. Own goal coming through here to start off this series as well. Shadow Hayes 2-0 up over Xinjiang. And I know this has been quite a different approach. We talked about playstyles. It's been quite a different approach for both of these teams as well. Unitox Xinjiang have sort of had quite a laissez-faire approach to the season from a sense of, yeah, you know, we'll show up for the matches. We're not really bothered. We'll play them. We'll win. If we don't, whatever. Shadow Hayes have been on a sort of mission of redemption as Zombie puts in a goal to sort of cut that lead in half. But Shadow Hayes, Sheep, I know they've had coaching. I believe they've had coaching from Ophenim, and you know, they've had quite a lot of time to sort of have the improvement, have the scrims, have the coaching sessions, and let's see if it's going to work here today.
The way it looks, besides that first goal they conceded, obviously, it seems to have been working so far. I'm definitely looking at Daimo as well. I remember having him on pre-season. Just happened to be that one player that we couldn't quite fit, unfortunately, despite how good of a player he can be on his day. And the pace that he's come out with today is certainly a positive sign for everybody on Hayes. However, if you do look at that last goal as well, the defence is completely being left wide open. Doesn't really help them as such, but of course that's all in the past now. We're 90 seconds in, going towards Daimo now, up in the opposition corner, 40 boost, but it's going to fall towards Source now with Daimo looking for those demos, doesn't manage to find them. That's the aggression as well that you talk about from this Hayes side. They look for the players more than a lot, but sometimes that's not going to matter because Zombie's going to equalise.
Yeah, sometimes all you need is a diamond in the rough, and Zombie is that in spades for Unitox. Brings it back equal, brings it back level, and now certainly this is all to play for again.
It really, really is. We're back to a level game. We're not even at half time yet, but of course both teams really want to put on a display to qualify for that championship Saturday. This being, of course, the last elimination match of the night, with that Anubis Origin game just being for seeding for upper bracket and lower bracket. So, in terms of these teams, you can absolutely see how much either of them wants it. That's a risky touch from Zombie. As, of course, if you lose, you are gone. That is your season over. But we're certainly seeing a couple of early misses coming from either of these sides. I don't know if that's just Academy kicking in or just
It is.
nerfs or either.
I can confirm it very much is Academy kicking in. I have a question for you. Have you seen the week 4 fail of the week between Nexus Origin and Dexterity Khaled? Yeah, okay. It's Academy kicking in.
It really is. No, that might be the best fail of the week I think we've ever seen. The fact that
Number
everybody
2 seed, by
missed.
the way, in the Ignis conference. Number 2 seed. But yeah, we'll see them take to the pitch in the series after this, and for Dexterity tomorrow. But for now, hang on a second, dial in with this series, as Zombie almost found another own goal to add to the tally here today. But yeah, 2 minutes still left, 2 goals apiece. Muchchuck trying to make it 3 here for the side of Shadow, and he's not.
What?
Neither is Source, as the open net miss is found. And well, 1:30 left. Shadow are going to feel robbed if this one goes down the other side and ends up in their net. Oh,
And it does. Unbelievable. I mean, we've got 5 Academy players and Zombie right now. That's what he's feeling like, because everyone else is in a state, I suppose. No one really knows how to hit the ball properly, how to score, how to centre it. But then, of course, you've got Zombie, who's just so composed with it. On his hat-trick now, and completing that turnaround for Xinjiang in game 1. Falls to Hansen, goes towards Zombie again. That's a beautiful bump as well. I mean, look at him, though. He's a marksman.
Yeah, already nearing 700 points here for Unitox, and there's been a lot of people this season who've been calling for Zombie's head on this roster, saying that, you know, the change should have been made. And albeit to them, I think he had a horrible start to this season. He was away on holiday in week 1, had a pretty rough week 2, week 3, week 4. Week 5, he was incredible for this Unitox team. And I think in this playoff sense, he sort of just comes alive.
Bit like Zombies, really, rising from the undead to suddenly awaken, and better now than any other point in the season from this specific Zombie on the side of Xinjiang. Almost finds a 5th with that dunk, but that's going to fall to Source now, just trying to panic clear that one out. Carp just off the post is going to go towards Source again, who's left a little bit awkward in the corner, but he's going to try and beat Zombie with the ball now. Zombie, though, ever so composed, as he has been all game, does probably his first miss on the ball this game, I'd imagine. As Muchuk will try and clear that one off of the backboard. Falls only to Carp, though, who I believe was last season's champion.
Yes, yeah, he was on that Aspire roster. And it's the bump coming through there from Shadow Hayes. Muchuk is getting involved, getting a little bit rash there, and taking Hansen out of the play completely, bringing things back to a 1-goal lead, bringing things back to the realms of reality. This one could still very much flip the other direction.
It really, really could. There's something about Academy with the way the pendulum just keeps on swinging. Doesn't matter how many goals are scored from either side. That was very nearly a 4-4, but Carp is on that in his mark. Look at him go. Hansen tries to find a mid there, but a huge bump from Carp stops the ball from going anywhere out. However, Mutchuk will have another say in that. Goes towards Zombie. Final 10 seconds now. Dynamo looking for the goal. Equaliser found, and Hayes back on level terms.
Yeah, Shadow Hayes had come out of the shadows here that they were put in by Zombie earlier on, and instead put an amazing shot over the top of his and the rest of Xinjiang's heads. 9 seconds left before overtime, and the score is leveled. But are we going to get an overtime, Sheep?
You'd like to think so, but you can never really tell with this tier. There's something about it, and there's something Source if Carp misses this ball, but the composure does come in just in time. Dynamo's looking for the goal, though. Very nearly a 0-second, but we are going to go to overtime, Marge.
Well, it is the Unks of RSC Academy versus the new gen in Zombie. I mean, you couldn't write this one any better way. The experienced versus the inexperienced. If you take Hansen out of the picture, of course. But yeah, the whiff comes through there on the defense for Shadow Hayes, and it will allow Unitox to sort of dial things back up here in their attack. Back in field, Hansen there to put Muchchuck under some pressure as he's looking for that bump as well. But it's been such a good opener for both of these teams, and I think this series could very well be quite close.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, it may be closer than we give credit for, but hang on. Turnaround number 2. It's so unfortunate from Hansen there on the clear, pulling a first killer, some might say, as Source will just poke that one home and take number 1 from FaZe in one of the most topsy-turvy games I've ever seen, Hodge.
Yeah, it's been a little bit all over the place. That's the best way of putting it. But in the end, Shadow FaZe come out as victors of game number 1 in this best of 7. And I mean, when you look at this scoreboard, it's a one-man army versus the whole roster of Shadow, it seems. It's weird because that actually sounds really bad. I don't think Hansen and Autocarp were necessarily bad. I just think Unitox made a few more mistakes than Shadow, and in the end, that worked out with Shadow coming out on top of there in that one.
Yeah, I feel like it's just the level that the Zombie showed. It put a bit of a dampener on some of the things the other two were doing. I feel like everyone's sort of playing at an academy level. It's just Zombie is that level above, and in that game, it felt that, when he's not on the ball, that there wasn't quite going to be that same amount of spark. But of course, that's only game 1, and you know how quickly things can switch in absolutely any tier. You can be the best player one game, you can be the worst player the next, and vice versa. So for the likes of Karp and Hansen, now's the time to redeem yourself.
Well, it certainly is, as we take to the pitch here on Forbidden Temple for game number 2. Will Shadow continue forward with their success, or is Unitox going to maybe put a little bit of a roadblock in their path?
Definitely a big question, but of course FaZe have sort of come, I say flying out the gates. They did at the beginning, went for a little bit of a hiatus, and then started flying again. But new game now, after that 9-goal thriller to kick off the series, as another mistake comes in from Karp. Unfortunate on the read there. Hansen now down towards Mutchuk, unfortunate for him. But Diamond's going to be looking for the boost steal now, does manage to find it as well. Also Hansen, 0 boost. Good fake out from him as well. Tries to look for a second touch, but Daimo will be into it, now on half boost. Looking to go towards that Xinjiang half. Once again, Mutchuk eyeing up the shot. Hansen clearing that one away. Source just trying to keep on the pressure now. Mutchuk doing exactly that as well, but unfortunate for them, a team bump comes in. The third goes absolutely flying, and Unitox have the lead. We lost him.
Okay. We love packet loss. We love packet loss. There we go. We're back. Can you hear me? We good?
Oh, yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay, we're good. Unitox have the lead there. We love a bit of a disconnect. We love a bit of packet loss. It wouldn't be Academy without some technical issues as well. And yeah, I don't think it is. I'm not sure. I think there's a player DCing from the lobby. I think that's on the bingo. So we'll see. That could still happen. And what else could happen is that Source gets an amazing shot into the back of Xinjiang's net while Xinjiang was sort of jumping around, bumping each other in the defense. Source wasn't having any of it, and he was shooting that shot crossbar down to equalize the scoreline.
From his namesake, he really gave that shot from some Source as well. There's absolutely no stopping that one. Complete jump scare on the sides of Xinjiang. Leaves us all tied up again now, and Mutchuk trying to keep it in that Xinjiang half, but of course Hansen ready for that one, clearing that one the other way. Daimo with his dominus, getting a big hit, really utilising the best part of that hitbox, the fact that it's a long car to properly boom that one away. Now it comes to Mutchuk though, down towards Daimo. Of course Source on the ball now, trying to beat Karp, but Karp will be there. That Merc is absolutely daunting for anybody trying to challenge it. Goes towards Hansen as well, and there's the other two linking up. As we saw, we mentioned it at the end of last game, being Karp and Hansen do need to step up, and step up they have.
Yeah, they definitely have. It has been Unitox who, after game 1 have been looking to sort of push back, looking to sort of see what they can get from the situation. But yeah, they take the lead here in game number 2, and they might extend that lead because the ball just falls off the top of Tamo's car. We love to see it, don't we? There's no tier like Academy. There's no tier whatsoever like it. A little bit of a note, by the way. I know these two teams are both from the Ignis Conference. Both of these teams have played each other before. but it was back in week 1, and I took a look at the rosters, and it's all over the place. Unitox are playing with an FA sub in Kinsey. Shadow are playing with a sub and a player who they've released since then, but Source, who has stuck around since week 1, who's been here since the start, is still Mr. Reliable for Shadow as he plays that 50 to perfection.
Bit of an oops there from that Xinjiang attacker turned defender, as that 50 ends up pulling all the way across the field into your own net, as you do seem to see a lot, even in the likes of rsc-eu. We saw that with KC the other week, but Zombie now into the middle, looking for Hansen, trying to up another goal as a triple commit comes in. Hello, Academy. We've not missed you. It's only been 5 seconds since the last Academy play. I feel like we need a timer for it as well. You know, like one of those things where it's been this long since the last Academy-like play.
I have a pinned message, by the way, in a private server of iconic Academy moments for this season, which I've been adding to, and the full list is definitely 100% getting dropped at the end of playoffs. So if you've got anything that needs added to it, because I have dropped it, the half-done version in Academy discussion a couple of times here or there, then at me in Academy discussion, and I'll get it put on there for anyone who wants it all added up at the end. I was thinking originally about making like a compilation video of all the iconic moments, but it'd be too far to dig back, and I quite frankly can't be bothered. So maybe a different season. But for now, we lock in to this game number 2. We lock in with Carb as he locks in a 2-goal lead for Unitox.
Good shot from Carp there. Top bins over the head of Mutshuk. Yeah, stop that one. Brilliant shot there. Oh my days. Really rolling back his rsc-16 self as the prestige on the likes of Unitox comes in, with no player on this Xinjiang side finishing below second in that last season, and Zombie putting another one in the tally now, getting some of his points back, with his 2 teammates, of course, absolutely stepping up this game. Carp with 1 goal, 3 assists, Hansen with 2 goals, and now Zombie also with 2 goals and a very interesting shooting accuracy.
There's an interesting story behind this Unitox team today, actually, and it's that we almost actually didn't have them here today at all in the play-ins, and that's because we went, we were about 30 minutes before kickoff time. My goodness, what have I just witnessed? And Zombie hadn't showed up. It turned out that he was asleep and he hadn't woken up, but Hansen was very, very concerned. But Zombie has woken up. He showed up and he is here to play. He's already made that known, and what a great redirect that is. How has he got a touch on that?
He breathed on it.
I don't know, but he's got another goal to the side of Xinjiang. But yeah, Beeping Sheep, the fun fact, we were about 5 minutes away from MPB Shell having to sub in.
Could you imagine that? I mean...
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine? Oh yeah, you wouldn't even be... Oh, no, we could have the first caster and player at the same time. Wouldn't that be a fun one? But now Mutshuk finding 1 back for the 9th goal of game number 2. So, really full force in Academy Ball, or Acad Ball, or however it's said on the podcast. I'm not really kept up, Hodge, so...
Acad Ball.
Give me a couple of things on the podcast that, you'd expect to see here.
Oh, well, not that we expect to see, but I'll give you some fun things that we've done that the tier have either really hated or really like. We did a top 25 players list in Academy, which definitely rattled some people. Just yesterday, we did a top 10 subs list, which also definitely rattled some people. We did a quiz yesterday that JPEG made, and there's a lot of interesting questions about it. Half of them relating to Academy, and half of them relating to Ethan 2K's food reviews. But there's a lot of content that this tier has to offer. So if you're maybe not so tapped in, even if you're not an Academy player, it's certainly worth getting involved in the discussion, because it's quite funny either way. But yeah, I think when we've looked at the stories across the season on the podcast of both of these 2 teams, it's Unitox, and it's been everyone on the podcast consistently calling for Unitox to make roster changes. Us all laughing at Hansen for not wanting to hurt a 14-year-old's feelings and do it. And then at the same time, them showing up here today, so it might not matter. But then when we look at Shadow, it's been, everyone sort of looking at it going, how is this team doing well? How is this team on a road to redemption? How is this team pulled off this result? But it's through sheer improvement that they've been able to do it, and that's what RSC is all about. But this game is going to belong to Unitox, and Shadow are going to have to come back fighting.
Well, I just have to come back as normal, judging by the way some of these series are going, because could easily see this one going either way. Whatever the scoreline is in any given game, I can see Shadow putting 8 past Xinjiang next game. I can see Shadow just getting completely shut out next game. Really is a coin toss. Whatever you're gonna get, like, you know what? Yeah, like Forrest Gump said, Academy tier's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Well, yeah, that's pretty accurate, to be fair. It really is. But we're going to get into game number 3 and see who's going to break this this sort of deadlock in the series. 1-1 right now. But a lot of work still to be done here by both of these teams, Sheep. And yeah, you know, it's going to be a fun one. But seeing as we've got you here in the play-ins, and you are the AGM of Bro, who do sit you know, ready, waiting on Saturday for their play-ins. I want you to talk to me about your team, about Bro, about you know, the work that they've been doing to set up for this. And we've got some time to talk about it because the server's gone down for maintenance. So yeah, what's your team looking like ahead of the playoffs?
Well, they've certainly been busy, that's for sure. Doing all sorts of prep work by the looks of it. I've had a couple of DMs from Pixel Glitch asking for, you know, little bits of support here and there, or a little bit more than we have been doing anyway. It's been one of the tiers that we've sort of just left to do their own thing, and they've done a really good job of doing that. So, of course, if you're not really caught up with TIOM's Academy tier, anybody in chat, then let's have a little rundown. So, you've got Endrick, of course. If you've been in the scene, you know exactly who he is. You've got Pixel Glitch, the third and final player of that runner-up Academy roster of Xinjiang last season. You've got Crolex, who is one of the new up-and-comers of the tier, and one of the, well, contenders for player of the season, I suppose, when I feel like a lot of the plays this season, a lot of the wins have really been involving Crolex, because I don't know, he's just good. And you've got our sub as well, Regen Chaos. You can call him anything. I think he's called both in his actual names. But either way, very, very good sub. They seem like they've got synergy. They get on really well. And it just seems like a lovely team to be involved in and be around. And of course, wishing them all the best for that. What is it? Saturday. For Saturday. Yeah. I can't believe I forgot the day. But of course, that's for Saturday. Them are mistaken, just waiting to play. And now we've got game 3.
Can I humble you a second as Zombie puts the first goal in there for Unitox Xinjiang? Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Okay, there we go. The AGM of the franchise pronouncing the team name wrong. It's Choms. Come on, bro.
Really?
Look.
Really?
Yeah, I spoke to Pixel Glitch the other day because I wanted to get it right.
Oh, someone's got to tell me that, man.
Get it right, bro. Gotta lock in.
Okay. You did there.
That wasn't even intended as well. It wasn't, okay, yeah. Okay, moving on. Xinjiang with the first goal here in game number 3. And yeah, moving forward into the remainder of this game, it's going to be about fighting back here for Shadow Haze. We've seen them do it plenty of times before, and the games have sort of been back and forth. So you didn't really look at any direction for when this is going to happen and how. And well, speaking of Unitox's strive for success, a lot of that comes from Zombie, who's not really going to get a positive touch there, but he is going to get one. And it's going to allow Unitox to sort of start moving forward in their attack. Zombie touch to the back wall. He's lining up this double. He's not known for his aerial mechanics, but sometimes you've just got to sort of pull it out and, you know, try not to make a meal of it.
Well, at the very least, didn't make too much of a meal out of it, as it does stay 1-0, and I will highlight as well a bit of patience from Carp in the corner, knowing he's got trust in his teammate to do whatever he wants to do. But this one now, coming back to Daimo on the back corner, just looking to clear that one away. Carp does get the hit back into the midfield though. Mutschuk just missing that one. Source, of course, with a little bit of time to work with, but no boost to come with it. Leads it towards Zombie. He's going to go towards Hansen. He's going to go towards the backboard. Mutschuk's going to get one touch though. Zombie, of course, leaving this one for Carp now. Looking for that big hit, as it seems to be the theme for him this series. With that Merc, with those, well, I say big hits. They just seem to put everybody off as well. You see Carp on the ball and you just know this ball is just going to go flying.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit all over the place, and so is the chat. I've seen we've got the Unitox spam the basket chant from last season to help out Unitox back from last season. It really confused me because they're trying to tell me it's a box. It's not a box, it's a basket. But yeah, while they work out what the emoji is, we're going to continue to play through this game number 3, and Unitox are going to continue to be challenged in defense by players like Zombies just getting in there with the demos. Ottercarp trying to flick this one over the top.
Oh.
He just jumps and sends all the shadow to the realm.
Well played there from Carp. Just sometimes you don't even need a flick. Sometimes it's just a double jump job. Does exactly that. Gets it over all the defenders and bar down. Beautiful. So 2-0 now to Xinjiang, who since game 1's slight blunder towards the end have come out a completely new team. Of course, ironing out all sorts of mistakes ever since. This is going to go towards Zombie now, trying to eye out the double. He's going to find it. Is it in doubt?
Absolutely not. I think Unitox are a team who heat up very nicely into a series, and well, they've got the players to do just that. They're very much a momentum team. And you know what, Hecky? Yeah, I'll say please get some better emojis. Please get a box. Please get a box. If you get a box, then I'll do the chant on the stream for you. There you go. We'll get it going. But yeah, for now, it's very much about how does Shadow bounce back from this one, Sheep? And well, right now, I don't really see that much of a way back, to be honest. I feel like Unitox are, like I say, a very momentum team, and they just have that momentum behind them.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be one of those timeout jobs that it's going to have to be taken after this game if it's taken at all, because you don't want to be letting the series get away from you. Of course, being stuck 2-1 down, they'll be glad it's not 2-0 close to 3-0. With that bit of a steal from game 1 in the end, despite deserving it as well at one stage. But since then, it's absolutely been a more one-sided affair. Now, Soar's getting dusted there by Hansen. He's going to go for a touch, but him and Carp do get in a bit of a mix-up, and it ends up with nobody going for it. Now Carp, off the wall, gets 1, gets 2 touches as well with that Merc 50 once again. I absolutely love that car. I don't know what it is, but Zombie anyway, off the post, goes towards Hansen, off the bar, Prime Academy, and Zombie will put it in for 4-0.
Yeah, the collapse is starting to show here from Shadow. It is a great save originally from Source, but everything just gets a little bit chaotic, and Zombie is able to fire home the 4th. A player who is having an electric day today, with loads of goals, loads of shots, and is almost bringing back the form we saw from him last season, which made everybody, you know, coming into this season have him high on their sort of list. Since then, it had, well, safe to say, it's dropped off a little bit, and people were questioning that second pick from round 1 from Unitox. One of the 2 teams, by the way, who traded their picks to get 2 round 1 picks in Academy.
Oh. I
Yeah,
mean,
they keep a pick of Hansen and then second pick of Zombie. So yeah.
maybe that is what's related to that basket then, because it seems like they were putting all their eggs into one basket with those 2 round 1 picks, because sometimes you do that with your tiers. But it does seem to have paid off as well, at least so far, because there's something about these players. I'll just play off players. Say that again.
Can I test your ball knowledge of Academy?
Go ahead.
Who was the other team?
Shot in the dark here. Let's say Goodallions.
It was not. It was mistaken with JPEG pick 3, and I believe Ethan was pick 14.
That's just broken. I mean, come on.
Chris going, yeah, and then they got armored round 2. So yeah, I don't know. It's all over the place. But yeah, while we get towards Team Sandbag later on Saturday, for now it is all about Team Unitox and Team Shadow. And in this game number 3, it will belong to Unitox. They decimate Shadow here on DFH and move forward 2-1 in the series.
And I am loving the chat right now. There is so much going on again. Of course, Hecky with another new chant here. Hayes is falling apart again. You'd love to hear that if you are a Leeds fan. And now I tried switching up the whole box basket thing by changing them to some socks. It's not quite as hard, and it doesn't seem to have caught on, but it's a start. We'll get there somewhere.
I do appreciate the attempt.
We gave it a go. I will say though,
people are so boring. Come on, join in
honestly,
with Sheep.
Nah,
yeah.
you know what? Don't join in. We need some Hayes love in the chat. Thank you, Nikira. Thank you very much. We need some Hayes love in the chat now.
There we go. We've got the highlighted message as well. I mean, it seems like going into this, I want to see if there's a prediction actually. It looks like most people had this series going the way of Shadow Haze. And I say most people, it was actually less people. It's just somebody put 35,000 channel points on it, and that's Tombast. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot on the line for a couple of people here for this series, but it's a little bit up in the air. If you asked me at the start of the day, I would say Shadow win this every day. If you asked me after that first series, I think Xinjiang certainly are looking large and in charge for the most part. But we're going to get this one started in a second here, Sheep, and I can't wait to see if this is going to be an equalizer from Shadow or if Unitox is going to be taking a lead. It feels like this is a very crucial game here now for Shadow Haze.
Yeah, I feel like this is the turning point. The fact that, hang on, did they take the timeout after the last game?
No.
Oh, well, in terms of that, anyway, that really does show how much this is the turning point of the series, because I think if you are Hayes, winning this is absolutely huge. You don't need to worry about the timeout until losing at least one more. But you're going to really have to perform, because you have just let Xinjiang put 10 past you in 2 games. Nothing to be proud of, might I add. So let's get this going. Average age of 36. You've got this.
Well, that is their, I guess, motto at this point. It's what they live by. It's the Unks trying to get it done in a new time, but they've got a lot to contend with, and it comes from Otterkarp's Merc, where you'd least expect it. Not quite 1200 anymore, a little bit more at 1230, but still able to find similar impact to what he found in a Scarab on Aspire last season.
I wonder what card he's going to be rocking next season. Are we going to be seeing a Proteus Carp? Protocarp?
Oh, I'd be okay with it. Listen, that's what I like about Academy. You get some interesting cars, you know. I mean, I'm a boring Fennec user myself, dabbling in the Octane sometimes. That's about as adventurous as it gets. My teammate Psychologic, though, I absolutely love it. The Back to the Future car. More people need to tap in.
I'll tell you what. I think I fit right in Academy. Been rocking the Corvette now for a good couple of weeks. Absolutely love that thing. It's like I suppose it's more of a real life dominant, or not in Elite. I mean, I'm sort of sub, so I think you're only allowed Octane and Fennec, otherwise they just kick you to the bench. Unfortunately, that's just how Elite is. But either way now, that's why I'm on the desk as opposed to playing, and also because Elite isn't on right now. But Zombie now making that 2-0. Not really a good look for Hayes, as it's now been going on 7 minutes without a goal.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like the wheels are sort of spinning off the track at this point. Somebody needs to right this ship here for Shadow before it completely collapses under the seas. But yeah, it feels like this Unitox team has sort of, I guess, swept through today like a tidal wave almost, Beeping Sheep. I mean, they came into this having... We did 20 prediction brackets on the stream, by the way. We got everyone on the podcast to come and talk about their predictions, about who they thought was going to do well. We did 20 prediction brackets. Not a single person predicted Unitox, apart from Hansen, to win that first series. And he only predicted that because he predicted them to not lose a game throughout the entire day. I don't know how that's not a goal, but go through and sweep the entire tournament. It was a copium prediction, essentially. So everybody in the tier had Unitox losing the first match to Serene. And not only did they do that, they're now looking to take down Shadow as well.
What did he see? Sometimes you have just got to back your team.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah. Fair play, though, to Hayes now, with their first goal in exactly 7 minutes, I believe. Now, well, no, just over 7 minutes. Mutchuk prodding that one home to completely stop that drought. But, of course, Hansen, I do admire you for that. I remember seeing in, I believe it was NSE, seeing Newcastle Uni, who are about 16th seed, every single week backing themselves to be absolutely everybody, and I just enjoy seeing that sort of thing. Delusion.
Up the tune.
Up the tune.
Up the tune. But yeah, enough of Newcastle and that wonderful city. More into Utopia Coliseum. I mean, we've experienced a lot of things beeping sheep, and a train ride from Newcastle to Sheffield and an Uber from Sheffield to Birmingham was certainly one of them. Iconic. But yeah, back into the playoffs and back into Shadow as they look to put themselves in the driving seat. Can't quite do it though. A shot sort of wasted there. 2 minutes still left on this clock. A long time for Shadow to collect their pieces, collect their thoughts, and try to do that, but Zombie just cuts it out immediately. He's not going to let that happen.
Yeah, the pace is really apparent, I suppose, in between these two teams now. With this young versus old, it's just becoming more and more obvious by the second that the young'uns are absolutely outdoing the unks here in terms of pace. I mean, I'll give it to Shadow. They started off quickly, but they just couldn't keep up with themselves, it felt like. Mutchuk puts a shot on there, but they have certainly slowed down. And when you've got the likes of Zombie and Hansen staring at you, and Carp and Zombie, I don't know where this ball is going. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah, so it was a pass from Zombie. Hansen missed it. Ottercarp caught it in a turtle formation. And then that was a pass back to Zombie, who passed it back to Hansen, who missed. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a backhand ball, it really is. But at the same time, we wouldn't have it any other way. Mutz will now look to challenge this, but Zombie just absolutely dusts him. It feels like Unitox have got such a flow of how they want to play the series here.
Yeah, they really do. They're in full flow state right now. Almost everybody on here, unless this goal finds a way in. They just seem to be more of a unit, I suppose. They're operating more structurally, which is very rare for Academy actually. And now Zombie, of course, going for a third goal here, but they always do seem to know where each other are. So huge credit to them, despite the fact that Carp is just going on a little stroll here and there. But I'd say for the majority of this game, they've known their positions, they've known exactly what they're going to do with the ball, and it's been the least Academy-like in a long time.
Certainly has, but Zombie still reigns supreme over this lobby. It's another goal for the young, what once was considered prodigy of the tier last season. Now he's got a little bit more of experience under his belt, but still performing to that narrative. It is a 2-goal lead restored here for Unitox, and it is the insurance that they need to potentially lock down a 3-1 lead in this series.
Yeah, it feels that they've almost certainly done that if Hansen can find this one, and he can. And they've got to take the timeout after this, though, Hodge, right? Surely.
Really? I mean, you've got no excuse to be forgetting. This Shadow team has zero excuse to forget they've got the timeout, so surely you've got to take it,
Yeah, I mean, you have to at this point. Their brains are fully developed. They will not forget this. So if they don't take it, then it is just pure upper lip, pure stubbornness. Because, I mean, I suppose technically they are still in the series, but this is also the third game running where it hasn't felt close at all. They've just sort of, well, to put it nicely, they've been thrashed.
Yeah. Probably quite a good way of putting it, to be honest. But the ball will hit the ground nonetheless, and Xinjiang will live to fight another day here. And I say live to fight another day. They did that last series. They're adding days to that life here with every game that they win. It's probably not the best way of putting that, but yeah, I mean, 3-1 in the series right now. This looks like it is Unitox's series to lose at this point. But we said that last series about Unitox, and they almost ended up throwing it as Team Serene brought it back to Game 7, and Unitox clutched up in the end. So who know? Who, in the wise words of Milwacker, who know?
Who know indeed. And we need Mill on here. We need Millcaster in one of these Academy games.
We don't. Telling you that. We don't.
I'll co-cast with him. If no one else will, I will.
Have you seen the clip of Mill casting?
No.
Type into the RSC search bar, say it with chest, and see what comes up. And that's all I'll say. But yeah, moving forward through the series here, we have got to continue with this one, and we're going into game number 5 with Xinjiang up 3-1. They need one more game to move forward into Championship Saturday. Shadow Haze needing to bring this all the way back to Game 7 as the Unks are looking to come alive, and they've already come out of retirement, but now wake up and see what they can do.
I'm gonna leave this one to you. I have just searched up the clip. Work of art.
Yeah. You still want to get him on the cast?
Yeah. He's a different fella.
He is.
New
He's
season,
great.
new mill.
Academy wouldn't be the same without him. It really wouldn't.
For better or for worse.
I'll leave it. It wouldn't be the same. But yeah, we've got to stay professional here on the broadcast, Beefing Sheep. Come on.
That's very true. Well, I mean, a good track record of doing that, though, haven't we? Well done, Carp.
Autocarp, it's just there for the shot. Unitox, well, they went from strength to strength over the past couple of games, but they're looking to put They're looking to put the final nail into Shadow Hayes' season here and knock them out of the play-ins.
Certainly a good way to start things. As once again, no timeout taken. This is probably that. There's no way they've forgotten. They've just figured, yeah, you know what? Let's just get this over with. And another one goes in the net.
You can't be conceding that. I mean, Source, it's such an obvious pass there from Damo, and Zombie's just going to get that one every single day. Xinjiang 2-0 up, and well, I know I'm misspoke and talked about the files earlier on. I think this series is going to have some files as to the obsceneries that we're seeing from both of these teams.
Yeah, that's certainly one way of mentioning it. Oh, Carp now. Wanting to really bring some academy into this series now on the side of Xinjiang, because it's felt a little bit too composed for his liking. But following that one up with a good clear, now Hansen up towards Source, who's going to go back towards Carp again, looking for another heavy hit. Is he going to find a double? No, but Hansen will find one touch. Zombie beat into that ball as well by that pass now. Good touch from Carp though. Mushuk on the ball. Rare attack now for Hayes, as Carp does get demoed. I feel like that's the first time I've actually seen a Merc ever get demoed. I don't know about you.
I actually don't know. I don't watch a lot of Merc gameplay, so I wouldn't really be able to comment on that one. But what I do watch a lot of gameplay of is some of the players on this Unitox team when they're constantly beating me in in-house fours, so or in-house twos. Sorry, but yeah, it's certainly difficult to come up against, and I think the Shadow team's certainly realizing that. Autocart playing this 50 well, just looking to essentially stall out this timer. When you look at this team of Shadow, they essentially have a timer set on their season, and that timer becomes oh so much more important for every single goal that goes in. Autocart floating on the back wall, tried to find it, but it didn't matter because Hansen, Mr. Reliable, for this Unitox side is just there. And well, 3 unks versus 1 unk and a Gen Alpha. At the end of the day, the lesser average age usually wins.
New gens here, it does seem to be. As it's just not quite their day at the races, is it, for Hayes? Now, granted, they have took a game, they haven't been swept, but it's not felt close ever since game 1, as Dymo's starting to get the right idea. They can't score if they're not on the pitch. So maybe a little more of that, because we've not seen that Hayes aggression very much, because they've just not really been up to the pace, not even in terms of the ball, just in terms of keeping up with any of the players. But Hansen now, going to boom that one out. Mutchuk's just keeping that away for the time being, although it's not really going to matter too much with, of course, with Unitox having that 3-goal lead. That one, of course, going to be boomed away once again. Need a goal, though, very soon. Dymo trying to find a shot. Source following that one up, as is Mutchuk, but it's not really looking threatening in the slightest. Mutchuk with another touch once again. No threat really offered. I feel like Unitox, they've had all the offense, and they haven't need to have any defense because they just haven't really been tested, Hodge.
I think one thing that's a big thing for me with this Unitox team, which we don't really talk about enough, is the guidance of this team. A lot of it comes from Hansen and his experience, not just playing in RSC and in Academy, but playing in multiple tiers. Hansen used to play in Master Tier at some point. Like, I know what a fall off, I know, but like, this guy knows how to do it. He's been there and he hasn't won a trophy, but he's certainly been around enough to be able to manage players like Zombie, younger players who, need to sort of change the environment depending on the situation. I know he sort of essentially explained to me that Zombie was like his little Pokemon that he just sort of sends out and tells him what to do. So yeah, there's that. But I think Hansen's guidance for this team, it really goes a long way, and it's a big part as to why this team has done so well today and why they did so well last season in that playoff run. But Overall, Sheep, yeah, I agree. I think this is essentially just waiting on a timer that's going to expire here. And Shadow, they need something, but they're just not given it, and they're not really doing anything to take it either.
No, not at all. I mean, all I can really see from them is just booming it away, really. There's no proper game plan. I suppose at this point, it's not looking like they're caring all too much. They're just happy to be here, I suppose. But yeah, there's not essentially, they're not really looking for each other. There's no proper like plan. As Daimo can almost find one there as the bit of a weak shot comes in, unfortunately for him. This time it is going to tick down though more and more as we're at the final 30 seconds of what will almost certainly be the final game of the series now. It felt like Xinjiang has just provided too much of a handful, and that insight is all about Hansen. I didn't know he was actually that much of a in-game and in-general leader,
Yeah.
so that's huge for them. Every team needs someone like Hansen.
Certainly so. Well, it has been a crazy day for Unitox, and they are lucky to even be in the play-ins. But be in the play-ins no longer. Unitox Xinjiang, welcome back to the playoffs. Welcome back to Championship Saturday. And it's now time to seek revenge on what evaded you last season. They take down Shadow Haze in 5 in a 4-1 series and move forward to Saturday. It is absolutely insane what we are seeing in Academy, and already everyone's predictions are absolutely well and truly out the window.
To think that not even an hour ago, this team lost 6-0 to Unito as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's mental. It's mental. We're going to have a look at some of these post-series stats here, Sheep, and see who made the difference. And, you know, obviously we know about the teams, and we know how dominant overall the series that was from Unitox. But I think it's quite obvious who the MVP of this series is going to be for me.
Yeah, someone check the graveyard, because I think we know exactly who that's going to be. A Zombie for the second series running now with
13 goals. What?
2.6 goals per game. That's absurd.
That's incredible. That's good math as well.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, that's incredible. That is incredible. Zombie has had a performance today, and you know, a performance that Unitox didn't really even deserve to have. When you look back on their season, they're lucky. Like I said, they're lucky to even be in the play-ins. If multiple things didn't, if Biffy didn't absolutely have his PC cooked, and you know, could have played on anything more than integrated graphics, who knows, maybe Illusory would be in this spot. If MPB didn't have an incompetent AGM who had to forfeit a series against Nexus, then maybe, well, actually, mathematically, MPB would be top 6 right now. But that didn't happen. So Unitox are top 6, and Unitox are now not just top 6, top 8 in the entire tier. They move forward to Saturday. What a day of action, and a massive round of applause to these lads here for everything they've done this season.
Yeah, certainly well played to them. So welcome in to Saturday, Xinjiang. It really is a game of ifs. There's a lot of ifs. There's a lot of if nots.
Oh, yeah.
But there is one certain, and that is Haze are gone, Unito are gone.
I thought you were
Xinjiang will
going
have
to Krollex is winning a trophy.
and Krollex, come Saturday, will have his first title of many.
Oh, well, we've still got one match more left here today. Let's have a look at the schedule quickly, because it is certainly a fiery one. We have Masters casting with us before, and now he's going to take to the pitch. Godalians Anubis taking on Nexus Origin, Sheep. I mean, two teams who have very different seasons. Godalians Anubis, who have made a couple of roster changes all over the place. They had Ryu main roster, then they put him as sub. While he was sub, he's been getting coached by Wilkie Angelino. And they've brought him back into the roster last week, and he's improved so much to the point where Masters thinks he's the worst player on that team now. And Ryu's 1200. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see with that side of things. Nexus Origin have just had a little bit of a switch up as well. They've moved to Zeke to their sub and moved Cairo into their main roster, and they've been having a lot of success in the scrims up to playoffs. So two teams who've switched things around, two teams who are going to need to perform to stay in that upper bracket, and it all goes down right after this break.
you hang up again, baby. I just can't be alone tonight. Don't you hang up again, baby. I just can't be alone tonight. Don't you hang up again, baby. I just can't be alone tonight. Don't you hang up again, baby. I just can't be alone tonight.
Walking on the moon.
One moment to escape. You're walking on the moon.
I've never been.
Dance again. All our trouble seems to fade away. This is how I feel when you take me to some levels that I've never been. All our trouble seems to fade away. When we dance
I've never been. I've never been.
looking for somebody to make memories in the bank forever in time. There's no reason to be hard to find, 'cause we've already lost our mind. You and me, we're gonna write a little history. You and me, just show me love and then you'll see. Memories that we make, they are never gonna fade for a lifetime. We don't give no care if you wanna hide away. We just hide it trying to play. Second drills up in the memory bank.
This isn't just merch, it's what teams wear when they mean business. Every stitch, every print, every detail, made to perform. Trusted by the grind, from grassroots to championship halls. Build your team store. Wear the brand that wins. SpartanWare, trusted by the grind.
Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the rsc-eu stream. We just saw Xinjiang start their lower bracket run. They beat, I believe they beat, it was Unitu 4-3 in round 1. They then beat Hayes 4-1 in the series we just saw earlier, and now we are moving to the upper bracket of the Academy play-ins, where we will see Anubis take on Origin, second place of Glaciers take on third place in Glaciers, taking on second place of Ignis. I am June67 and alongside me today is Veiled, and this is the last series of the night.
Yes, indeed it is. And well, there's one team that has done really well in their league, and then there's another team who was doing really well in their conference, but ended up falling down just a little bit towards the end of the season. But it is a number 2 on their conference versus the third seed of the other conference, so it should be an interesting match nonetheless. And well, yeah, you have the stats of each team from the season on your screen right now. It is pretty tight, but Godalians has a couple more wins, but also another loss. I don't know if the stats just haven't updated from the last week or what, because it doesn't seem like all the games should be there for Nexus. But moving on though, if you look at the goal stats, for and against, Godalians leads in both goals scored and conceded. Slightly more saves, but might be something with the games not being there, but a lot of demos on Nexus as well. So it seems to be that there's going to be a little bit of a difference in the playstyle, and yeah, interesting to see how that shapes up.
Yeah, I think there's a 4-0 sweep for Origins that has just not been accounted for in the standards graphic. But like you said, Anubis, they came flying out the gates, but then they kind of fell away a bit. I mean, they still finished third, but only one win out of the last 4. I mean, you see it plenty of times where a team where a team finishes the season in rather poor fashion, and that dodgy form carries into play-ins. And so I think moving on to predictions, I think I'm going to say 4-2 to Origin.
Okay. That was what I was gonna go, but you know what? I'm feeling frisky. I'm gonna give Godalians it 4-3. I think they take it in game 7.
It's interesting. I mean, to be fair, like it is Anubis. They do have a couple of players that are there. Masters has been in this tier for quite a while now, usually regarded as one of the better players of the tiers. Very experienced. He is the captain, so I'd imagine that his leadership could prove pivotal here. But as for Origin, they have a player that's crazy, I believe. He's come back after a very, very long time away. He'll be looking to kind of make his mark on this series as well.
Yeah, but it does look like we are ready. It does look like all the players are ready to get on the pitch. So I'm gonna give them the signal, and we're gonna get this series started. You guys have waited long enough for this series. It is the upper final match of Tuesday. Another one will be happening tomorrow at approximately the same time, probably a little bit earlier. But we have this series started, and it looks like Masters is gonna take the kickoff here. It's gonna chase it down. Rakeboy, a little bit of a miss there. A little uncharacteristic from him, but it is made up for by his teammates here. Pushing forward now is Nexus. Kairu's gonna chase this one down, gonna knock it into the backboard. Not too dangerous, but Rakeboy taking that 50 to keep it in. Centers it, is crazy there, yes, but it's not gonna be quick enough. He is gonna keep it in, gonna lob it to Cairo, gonna look for that 50, but it looks like Rio is gonna get the beat, and actually, he's just gonna put it on target, and that extension from, I believe, Rakeboy as the last man there is just a little too much, and Crazy can't make his way back. And it will be Godalians taking the lead in this first game.
Yeah, I feel like in that sort of situation, I think he was caught in two minds as to whether to go or to stay back, and I think he opted to go. But by that point, if you have to go as last man, you have to go early, and you have to beat the challenging player to it. And he just didn't, and he did pay the price. I mean, it is quite harsh, but I mean, even at Academy, those cast mistakes do get punished. So Anubis were looking for a second there, but that passing play didn't quite connect the way they hoped. Or maybe a chance for a counter-attack, but never mind. I think there's just too much hesitation there. There are a few demos started to come out. It's just a matter of can they make the most of them. Instead, Anubis actually able to deal with the demos quite well. They're still able to have players back and ready, covering each other, and that's something we don't often see. So I mean, so many times we see a team go for demos of it throws their opponents off, but it seems that Anubis are completely unfazed by that as Master strikes the bar. Jazz too high on the follow-up, cleared away anyway. Ryo can't get anything on the 50. Now Crazy trying to send it to the middle, but there's no one there in support. But maybe a chance for a counter-attack as Rio is straight into Cairo. And this game is starting to liven up a bit, although Origin yet to have a shot on target.
Yep, Crazy gonna take his time on this one. Gets a good 50 onto Masters. Jazz is gonna be chasing this one, but it's just effectively gonna knock it back into the other hand. But does look like Rio is gonna get a chance here. It is gonna be locked in front of net. No one can get it on target though, and it's a little bit of an overcommit from Nexus here. They are gonna try and take it across their net as well. They're definitely not playing safe. That is safe to say. Jazz gonna clear it a little bit here. Crazy gonna make it awkward for Jazz. Cairo gonna delay his shot. I don't know if that was intentional, but it does make it through its way through the defense, and it will be Nexus and Origin here tying up the game.
I feel that there really needed to be someone from Origin challenging that ball early, and there just weren't. I mean, Cairo, that is their first shot on target all game long, and we did score from it. It's not the cleanest one, it was a bouncer, but I think that's actually what makes it able to go in, is that they expect a nice clean shot behind to react, but instead it just hits straight into the ground. It bounces up and it just catches them out. But Anubis, they have had the better of it. They've been pegged back. Now they need to respond, but Jazz just got beaten to back into middle though, but again, it is cleared. But now that could be awkward. Crazy is very awkward as Cairo has to bail him out. It is a strong clearance. Jazz has to send it to his own corner. That's very awkward. That's Crazy. It's on target, saved by Ryu. Anubis all of a sudden looking not so comfortable, especially after they've had 6 shots. RG have only had 2, but they are mounting a decent spell of pressure right now, but they just nothing quite coming together for either side. I feel like a lot of times it's just the player challenge is just that little bit too late, and so there's just not really anything coming together for either side.
Yeah, and here Rakeboy gonna turn up the pressure a little bit, gonna go up for this ball as well. Puts it straight into Jazz, but Jazz using a lot of boost just to get to that ball. And a good block by Crazy as well. Rakeboy gonna take a touch, make it awkward for Masters in the corner here. Jazz gonna help him out a little bit here. Cairo gets a touch, but Jazz just dunked him. And now he has an open net. Is it gonna make its way in? It does in the end. It's gonna be Masters on the cleanup duty there, but it is gonna be a goal, and it is gonna be Anubis getting that lead once again. They took it once earlier this game, but unable to keep it. This time, 57 seconds on the clock. They either need to just keep the scoreline like this, or try and see if they can further their lead by scoring another goal somehow. But it's a bit of an interesting game, I think, because everything is a little bit up in the air. I think Anubis has been a little bit more prominent in attack. They have been creating more chances, but it really seems like one of those games where it doesn't really matter too much how many chances you create. It just matters if you make them count. And neither team seems to have like a very high success rate right now. As you see there, a shot almost makes its way through, but just that slight miscalculation just means that that will not be an equalizer. But there's certainly a lot of pressure in this game going on right now.
Yeah, there is, and I just want to say Anubis' second goal is very similar fashion to the first. Although, in Rakeboy, he saves his own teammate's shot. The hard work was already done, but he makes amends for it. Only 2 seconds left. Just seconds after saving his own teammate's shot. He's there at the back post to acrobatically put it away, and he might have just saved game 1 for Origin.
Absolute cinema we have in game 1 right here. Rakeboy almost feeling like he was the one to blame, but then he just happens to, out of that play, be in the perfect situation to just correct his teammate's shot and make it go in. I mean, maybe that's what he was trying the first time around, but didn't really help out. But he does get the equalizer, and now, if they are to win this game, might be becoming the man of the hour, or maybe just the man of this match for his team. But we still have this game on the way. 25 seconds overtime so far. Master's gonna have some time here. Gonna opt to knock it deep into the corner. Gonna chase it, but not gonna be able to find the touch. Rakeboy very awkward in net there with 0 boost, but is able to deal with it. This one centered. Masters opting to not go. Jazz is gonna track back as well. There should be 2 players back. A poor touch by Jazz though, but Cairo not able to find a good shot off of it. Now in the corner here, Rio versus Rakeboy. Rakeboy gets the dunk. Crazy gonna track back, so now Cairo should be there for this ball. It is indeed. Just gonna opt to knock it hard as well. Something these academy players love to do, it seems like right now. You have the possession, just knock the ball, and this time it is just a hard boom of the ball that just makes its way across the pitch from Masters here, and yeah, Rakeboy in the back there is not able to deal with it, and it will mean Anubis is gonna take game 1 here.
Yeah, it's another overcommit by, I believe, it is Origin, and it's cost them in overtime. It's cost them 3 times. That last one was arguably the most egregious. Rakeboy too far forward and facing the wrong way. I mean, it's bad enough being in that sort of position, but when you're facing towards your opponent's goal, you're having to like turn around. It's just did not give himself enough time to get back to deal with that ball forwards. And to be fair, you do see it quite a lot at Academy. You do see that last man pushed up further than they should be, and if Anubis can keep exploiting that then I give them a very good chance of winning the series.
Yeah, Anubis definitely have the upper hand right now. But you can't help but think that Origin on the other side, they have had their moments. They have been clinical when they have their moments. Maybe I missed open net here or there, but so has Anubis. I wouldn't count them out yet. I wouldn't say this series is just done and dusted already. It is just fine margins splitting these two teams at the moment. And it does seem the server has gone down. Perhaps, or maybe it's just me. Yeah, server has gone down, so we're just gonna have to take a little moment here, guys. Just bear with us while we get the new server set up, get the players ready to play again. But yeah, GM, I mentioned that I don't think this series is done and dusted. What is your analysis so far?
Absolutely not. I mean, I'm with you. Like, it is only game 1. So yeah, I agree with you. But I think it kind of shows that Origin, they do have. They do. I mean, they have that one issue of like over the last man overcommitting. Like, if they can fix that, then they have a chance of winning the series. But if they don't, and Anubis can just keep exploiting that, then they can only see the series going one way. But like I said, like if Origin can fix that, if they can have the last man actually back and ready to defend, then they can have a chance of pulling it back. But that's the one issue that they need to fix right now.
Yep, that is the issue they need to fix. On Anubis on the other side of the pitch, just to give a little bit of an analysis as well. I think they have been creating more chances, and they have been creating more fruitful chances. But also, as you mentioned earlier on, most of their goals have not come from good chances. It's come from overcommits from the other side. It hasn't really come from like outplays on the goal line, leading to a pass, leading to a shot. It has come from those overcommits and just booming the ball from one side of the pitch into the net. Now, we do have game 2 on the way here. It's going to be Rakeboy taking the first play here. He gets dunked by Masters. Jazz overcommitting a little bit there, so he won't be able to get the shot. Crazy flipping past the ball, 50ing it in front of his net. Jazz almost able to punish with a dunk there, but not quite able to do so. Rakeboy gonna take a 50 on the side here. Gonna be chasing this one into the corner. Gonna look for the bump, gets it. Almost leads to Cairo getting the goal there, but it won't be enough. This time Jazz gonna take this to the ceiling, gonna just leave it for someone to jump for it. Rio is the man to push forward, but he didn't have enough boost, so he was just a little bit of a distraction at that moment. Jazz gonna look to defend this play, gonna have to leave it. That could have been dangerous. A low boost amount for Anubis in the goal right there. Jazz opting to play this one. Rio passes it to Crazy, just needs to put it in the box, but just can't quite place it. This one put on the sidewall is gonna be Cairo. He just picked up that 100 boost. Still has about 30 to play with, but after using all that boost, just can't make the contact. And that should just be Rio taking this one forward. Will be, in fact. Masters now taking over for him after he got demoed. Cairo actually gets a great pinch there. Jazz off the ceiling. Gonna be looking for that backboard, looking for that 50. It just does make its way through, but just no backup on the shot there from his teammate, which means that they have to track all the way back now. And now it is Origin's chance in the box right now, and they're making good use of it right now.
Yeah, and well, there is the shot on. I mean, technically, it's counted as a shot on target, but it's not. It's off the bar, and now Crazy launches it forwards. If there's someone who've ever thought Cairo just too high, does come back to Rakeboy, but his touch too high, can't really follow up, and Crazy coming in, but there's a block. Now Masters doesn't have any boost to work with. Going to be very difficult for him to make something of it. Does come back to Ryu though, trying to find the touch into middle, but it's just too far for Jazz, and now Masters has to scramble back just to prevent the Origin counter-attack, but it does to Rakeboy. Comes off a corner, and Masters gets a touch just beyond, I think it was Cairo, and yes, technically there's only one shot on target for each team, but it doesn't really feel like that. I mean, the ball has been in dangerous areas for quite a lot of this game, but it's just as no one there to follow up, and now that ball has just evaded the Anubis back line, and Cairo able to just play it across, and Ryu maybe just a little bit too late to that, and just diving across trying to get there, but it just slipped underneath him, and Origin get the first goal.
Yeah, and this game seems to have changed the tides a lot for how this series could pan out. You see Origins just taking advantage of the fact that Anubis have just been giving the ball away for free a lot of times, where they just hit the ball all the way to the opposite side. You see it right there, just a heavy touch, no follow-up, which means Origins immediately pounces back, gets a pass up to Rakeboy, who's already in the air, just ready for that pass, and he just buries it over Masters. Nothing he can do except for backflip on the goal line. It's a great play by Origin, and they have certainly woken up since that last game. I was gonna say a minute ago, this is the first time they've been ahead. Let's see how Anubis handles being on the back end, being down goals, and well, now they're 2 goals down, and let's see how they handle this pressure.
Well, it's Masters, and it is a brilliant pass to Jazz. They pull one back, but they're still behind. Such a good pass, you have to say. But at Origin, again, it's overcommitting. Just when I thought they learned their lessons over a previous game, it's those old mistakes rearing their ugly head. But they'll have to make sure that that doesn't happen again. If they do, then they could yet get home and dry and pull the series level. But still have to wait and see whether they will be patient, knowing that they still have a lead to protect. They don't have to overcommit. They don't have to throw everything at it. There's an awkward double commit. Great Boy doesn't have much boost. Just about gets across. There's another double commit. I think Anubis are sensing a weakness as all 3 are back. And they are able to keep it away. Now a chance of a counter-attack. Crazy gets a second touch and Jazz saves off the line. And Origin very nearly a chance for a third. And it's all happening here. A minute to go. It's off the bar again. And Ryu can't clear. And Kairu there to tap it in. And Origin, after the most frantic 20 seconds or so, are able to restore their 2-goal lead.
Yeah, and just to track back a little bit, when that ball was on the goal line, it was Kairu. I don't know if you saw it, but he took so much time. He knew that no one was just gonna dive in to try and get the goal. He just took his time, took that ball down low, and just went for that 50, and it immediately cleared up the whole field. But hold on a minute, Crazy has just made it 4 for Origins. They looked a bit scrappy the last game, maybe just needed to get the nerves out of the way. This time, they are all over Anubis' defense. They are really using that possession that they have been given so freely. They are taking so much advantage of it. They're just keeping that ball in the final third, and even when it goes into defense, they're not really getting stressed out as much. And now that means Rakeboy has so much freedom to go for plays that we haven't seen him go for all game. But it won't lead too much here. Ryu is gonna try and get it out of defense. Master's gonna take it across. Jazz taking it away from him, and this Anubis defense is starting to look really scrappy.
Yeah, it isn't. I thought that 4th goal might have just finished the game off. And there is that long ball downfield. It has to be dealt with as Cairo just about gets a touch. And it is a very good one. Sends it all the way into the Anubis corner. I think that might just be game 2 done and dusted. Jazz trying to get one last pop at goal, but that's not on target. Crazy can clear. I think that settles it. Anubis only managing 4 shots, and that's it. And Origin very much coming back from that game 1 where, I mean, to be fair, they weren't that bad. They just overcommitted. They just left themselves open at the back. But it seems that for the most part, they were able to fix that. And after they fixed that, they got down the other end. They really punished Anubis. And it seems like Anubis, they didn't really know how to react to that.
Yeah, it looks like they were just a bit stumbled. They didn't really know how to manage that pressure that they were receiving all of a sudden. And I think it's just about communicating a bit more with each other, being confident that you have the man in front of you. He's gonna make a play. It might not be the best 50 that just gives you the ball on your nose, but they are gonna be making some sort of difficulty for the attacker in front of you, which means you're gonna have to have a bit of an easier time behind them. Because I have seen a lot of double commits. I have seen a lot of of times where they don't really seem to trust their teammates and they dive in, they lunge in to try and take the ball away from them because they think they have a better opportunity. I don't think that communication is on point right now for Anubis. I think the nerves are starting to show, and they really need to shake it off if they want to get back into this one.
Yeah, they do, and I'm quite surprised by that, considering how, Masters especially, a lot of experience in this league. Although maybe Jazz and Rio maybe not so much. Although maybe that's where Masters, his experience, his leadership would come into play, where he can calm his teammates down, be that influence on the pitch. But it looks like that hasn't really happened yet. I mean, I think Masters himself, I think there were a couple of goals where he just kind of got caught in a wrong position and couldn't really adjust in time. And when he tried to, he just ended up cutting his teammates off. But he is able to make a save there. 30 seconds gone, crazy into a corner, and it's a double commit. But this time it's saved by Jazz, and now Masters just hoofing it down the field. He had plenty of time. He could have just taken a touch there, but he just felt the need to get the touch, and it does eventually lead to a goal. It is Ryu getting that second touch off the backboard, and Jazz diving in, getting a better of a 50 on Breakboy, and Anubis getting the first goal of game 3.
Yeah, it's a hard-fought goal, but it is an influential one. If they can keep this lead, if they can keep the confidence going off of that goal, could change the storyline a little bit. But so far, I haven't really seen Origins give up just yet. Breakboy's gonna chase this one, gonna follow this one, gonna try and air dribble it down to Cairo. Does indeed. Doesn't get the pinch that he was looking for, but it is enough to keep possession for a little bit. Jazz gonna be very awkward by that interaction right there. Rio gonna go up for a touch. Jazz further hitting it forward, but it's only gonna make its way to Crazy, who is immediately turning up the pressure again. Jazz gonna hit it over one. Not enough boost to follow this one though, so Cairo taking it to the side wall. Couldn't quite get back to it, which kind of fakes out Crazy, who gets beaten out there. Rakeboy with a great 50 there. Now it's a 1v1, no boost on Ryu, but he does get a touch, which means that they won't just be conceding just yet. Crazy with a 50, Rakeboy should have this one, indeed he does. Gonna hit it forward, gonna follow this one into the corner here. Doesn't have a lot of boost, but gets a great pass onto Cairo. It is saved away though. Now Crazy gonna hit this one up, not quite able to follow it, just gonna track back. Leave this one for Cairo. Good 50, but Jazz, not the best touch. I think Rio is gonna have to track back on this one. Not really able to do so. Masters gonna leave this one for Jazz. Now Crazy off the sidewall here. Gonna not be making enough contact with the ball there. Masters gonna take this one into the corner. Gonna just shoot it on the far post, but it's just not in. So Jazz on the other corner here. Gonna try again, but he can't quite seem to communicate with Masters, who's gonna pass this one mid. But it's still a lot of pressure coming out of Anubis right now.
Yeah, and there's the double commit, which could open things up further as that shot not quite able to sneak in. And now Cairo, he's just completely stood on the goal line. He just froze there. Not sure if his nerves, he just wasn't sure what to do, or he just didn't trust himself to get any kind of touch. But there again, I think the damage was already done. It was a double commit where neither of them got the ball, and I think he was just left to fend for himself. And Origin, I think they only have themselves to blame for going 2-0 down. And I must say, they haven't really looked like scoring in this game yet. I mean, they've had like a couple of half chances, but none of them really substantial. None of them where you can look and think they should have definitely scored that. So I think unless that happens, then I don't really think they can say that they have like
that could change right here. Oh, it's not on target. Rakeboy up to follow though. Gonna put it on target this time. Who's gonna follow that one? A little bit of a miscommunication between Anubis there. Cairo diving in. Now gonna leave it for Rakeboy. Cairo tracking back here. I think Crazy might be getting in the way. Gets demoed, so will not be causing a lot of harm to his defense. That shot not on, but this one is. Rio gonna take it in the end. It's gonna be a 3-goal lead for Anubis right now. It looked like Origin was gonna get away with murder there, but a nice little touch off the backboard there means that Rio just gets an open net, and he barely has to even touch the ball to get that one into the goal.
And I think it's another needless double commit from Origin, which has cost them. And you kind of wonder what that's going to do to them mentally. They're now 3-0 down with not that much time left. And technically, a comeback is possible, but highly improbable. As there's another double commit. It's just, you just don't really need to do that. And I think Origin, they have another problem which they need to sort out. I mean, game 1, it was the overcommit as last man, and this game, it's just the double commits which are really, really hurting them. And I think that's cost them any chance of winning this game. And there again, like Kyro, I know he didn't fully commit to it, but and you just cannot be doing that. As there is Kyro, but that one is blocked. And you can't really fault him on that, as Masters is trying to cause all kinds of mischief. Doesn't quite go in, but I think we've burnt enough time off the clock. Even if that one does go in, Crazy can't quite get there. And it looks like Anubis have done enough to win game 3. These last few seconds tick down. Jazz has been vital to that, but Origin, I think they shot themselves in the foot too many times with those double commits, and it's another problem which we have to fix.
Yeah, it is indeed. Origin not really looking like themselves in this game compared to last game. Of course, there was the first game where they also lost. Looked a little bit similar to what this one looked like, and maybe that's what we have come to be able to expect out of the academy tier. A lot can change from game to game. Something I have noticed is on the Anubis side, in the first game, looked a lot like this one when they go for a bit of some optimistic plays in the midfield. They jump for some balls that you wouldn't see people of higher tiers, jump for and try and get a touch on. And I think in this game it works out for them. They make Origin a bit awkward in the corners. It seems to be getting into good positions off of it. But in the second game, it looked like there was just a lot of whiffs, and it cost them really heavily. So I'm curious to see how that plays into the next game here.
And I think, again, that card plays into the Origin. I'm not sure if maybe they don't commit because of one of the players like not hitting when they should be hitting, and it seems like the servers are down again. Seems to be increasingly common nowadays for servers to just die. I'm not sure why that is. I mean, hopefully that gets fixed eventually, but I'm not really confident in that regard. But I think there may be like a bit more of a delay before we restart the series. But Origin 2-1 up in the series, and not Origin, Anubis 2-1 up in the series, and I think similar to game, I think it's more Origin shooting themselves in the foot rather than like. It's not to say Anubis have played badly, but they haven't really had to be at their best to win the games.
Yeah, and I just think it comes down to two things really in this matchup here, because you could say that there is a little bit of a difference in what kind of skills these players have. But on one side, you have Anubis. They like to go for those aerial battles, but that also comes with a weakness. They are not reaching the ball 100% of the time. They're leaving a lot of gaps because of it. And I think if Origin can just, make them pay every time that they make a mistake, they could have a footing in. But at the same time, Origins as well. They also have those double commits that you also sometimes see Anubis do, but they didn't do them a lot this last game. But it just comes down to two things: confidence and consistency. If you can consistently play at a decent level, you have a good chance of getting back into this one, and Crazy's showing that they can score immediately off of the kickoff in this game.
And much better. They're actually, and you talk about confidence, I mean the confidence to go for the ball early, to trust yourself to win that challenge, and then to get yourselves down the other end, and then Crazy able to get on the end of it, and Origin get themselves 1-0 up. and maybe a decent chance for another one, but this time it's saved by Jazz. But they're not done yet. Back into Mill. Crazy, that's a good touch. But there's just no one there. Cairo having to commit for as last man to get the shot. It's not quite on target. Still cleared away by Jazz. Crazy, not the greatest touch, but not really much you could do in that position. Great boy trying to play the pass to Cairo. And now the 50 against Jazz. It's looking all awkward in the corner. Masters just can't quite find a way out. Comes to Jazz on the wall. And there's another challenge coming in, and I think Origin, they're doing a much better job of having the challenges coming in. They're more consistent. It's not like you're waiting for the next challenge to come in. There's always, they're doing a much better job of having someone there to challenge the loose balls. When the ball is there to be won, they're doing a much better job of having someone there to win the ball compared to the previous games.
Yeah. Crazy, gonna take care of this one in the corner. Masters now gonna try and lob it in front of goal. It will make its way towards Rio, but he's tracking back on 0 boost. The ball is past him. Jazz gonna have to do a lot with 0 boost here. He gets a 50. It's not the perfect one, but Rio is up quick, and he's dealing with that one. Crazy, gonna take it towards the corner here. Masters is gonna be there for this one. Gonna hit it off the ceiling. It's gonna be bouncing. It's gonna be hit onto his own backboard by Crazy. Jazz now a lot of boost to work with. Pops it up. Gonna get another touch here. Looks like he was gonna go for the flip reset, but opted to just take it high instead. Rickboy with a little bit of a miscalculation there. That means Crazy has to take care of the backboard there and does so perfectly. But Rio with a laser beam of a shot, but it is saved away. That is one of the better shots that is saved in this tier, I will have to say.
Yeah, and it was a double commit, but unlike last time, you could argue that maybe you could at least understand the double commit where they just wanted to like cover the shot. Maybe they weren't 100% sure where it was going to go, and they just needed both players to commit just to like cover it. And now no one's back, and Crazy getting the second goal after the demo by Rakeboy, and it's just such a good counter attack. Rakeboy playing his part, getting a demo on the last man, just completely opens it up, and Crazy had the ball under control, and all he has to do is guide it in.
Yep, now we have another kickoff. It's Origins leading this game by 2 goals. Cairo gonna lob this one in front of goal. Rio gonna just clear that one hard, but it only makes its way to Crazy. A little bit of a whiff there, almost meant Rakeboy was gonna get another chance. But it is dealt with by the Anubis defense. Rakeboy gonna lob this one back for Crazy. Gonna be looking for Rakeboy again. A little bit of a double commit coming out from Anubis now. Jazz moving forward. Gonna take control of this one. Taking it into the corner. Won't be able to do much here though, but it falls back to Rio. Once again on low boost, and he flips past the ball this time. Rakeboy just needs to turn up the heat here. Has an easy shot, but not quite able to make contact good enough. Masters taking this one high. Gotta flip to get back to the ball. It will just be an air dribble, but it will be saved away by Crazy. Rakeboy gets a read on this one. A touch off to the side there. Jazz gonna be reading it. A little bit of a boom by Cairo there. Makes Masters awkward. Crazy with a bit of an easy shot there, but it is saved away by Jazz. Rio gonna clear it away. Buy some time for him and his teammates here. Crazy onto the backboard. Nice saved away by Jazz though. Rakeboy keeping the pressure in here now, but it is dealt with by Masters. Crazy has to have a duel with Jazz here. Just takes his time. Beautifully played by Crazy. Only Masters back with 0 boost here. Gets a 50, but it's gonna be bumped away from the boost. Rakeboy on the follow-up here. Straight down onto Masters, but that leaves Cairo completely open with a shot. Top right finish. And it is a 3-0 lead for Origins now.
Yeah, and I think Masters probably could have got a better touch or save, and I think he knows it as well. And I think that third goal might have just finished off this game 4. It feels like both these games have, all these games, they kind of been like the opposite of each other. It's like it swings one way, so it's never like a slight change in the complexity. It's a huge change as Origin they're winning game 4 very, very comfortably. Although having said that, Jazz does pull one back. It might be too late in the day for game 4, but it does give them something to build on for the rest of the series.
Yeah, and I will have to say, it seems like a little bit of a funny battle, you might say, because if you look at Anubis, I think they have definitely dominated when it comes to the aerial plays. Don't get me wrong, there are certain moments where some Origin players do get good moments in the air, but I think that Anubis just edges it out in the air. But where Origin seems to shine at the moment is their controlled play on the ground. It's not anything flashy. It's just taking their time and playing some great grounded football, I was gonna say, but it is, of course, some soccer, some Rocket League, playing some good grounded Rocket League, and that seems to have given them 2 game wins so far. But Anubis, they do seem to have the edge in the air, so they're probably gonna try and keep the ball in the air for as much as possible, while Origin gonna be looking to keep the steam that they had in this game, keep the ball down on the ground, keep it controlled, just keep it predictable. And I think that's the battle we're gonna see happen in this next game.
And you talk about it being grounded, and that seems to have suited Crazy really well. As like I said, was a player back in VIL days, going back like 6 years, I think, maybe even more. And he does seem like a bit more of like an old school player, and I think that's where like this car game is like suits him really well. I mean, we can see him being like head and shoulders above the rest of the lobby, over 600 points, 2 goals, 3 saves, and if Origin can keep up with that level of control, then I think I would fancy them to win the series. But it's just a matter of like that, and keep it consistent, making sure that they don't panic, making sure those mistakes from games 1 and 3 do not reappear. I think if it can keep those at bay, then they have a good chance of winning the series.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great matchup we have here. We still have... It's 2-2 right now, so at the very least, we have 2 more games being streamed for you here right now. But, yeah, we're in the middle of this 3rd game, so let's just keep it at this right now. Rickboy is going to get a 50. It's going to fall to Cairo. Takes it to the corner instead of just hitting it straight at the defender. Going to keep the pressure up. It stays in the corner. Masters with a bit of a misread here. Gets bumped by Rickboy as well. That means no one back. But they do get a bit of a saving grace here. A nice 50 by Cairo. Jazz is going to be up, but it only makes its way to Rickboy. And it isn't really scary for them. A nice demo by him as well. This one somehow makes its way through Rio. That means Jazz has to turn up the pressure here, but he won't be able to get back to this one. Surely Rio with another miss, and it was completely open. If only there was an Origins player there, but not to be this time.
And well, I was going to say it's a decent pass, but Kara's cut it out. He tried to go for a bump, but didn't connect. Sets up for Masters, off again, and Rio is there's no one back for Origins. I'm very curious as to why. Rakeboy went for a challenge, and Crazy went for a challenge, and none of them got there. So
Yeah,
it is unfortunate, but I think Rakeboy, if you're going to go all in on the bump like that, and you send yourself that far out of the plate, you have to connect, otherwise you will get punished, and that is exactly what happened. I'm not sure if it's the start of those mistakes from previous games creeping back into their play. They'll have to make sure that was just a one-off, although very awkward defensively for Anubis. They do get away with it. There were rather a lot of misses, and felt like Origin probably should have punished them, but they just didn't. And you can't wonder what effect that will have, as now they do have to pull back because Jazz off the wall, but it's a very loose touch, easily dealt with, trying to link up with Crazy on the wall, trying to find a pass middle, but only finds Masters. 50 against Cairo, onto Jazz, but now Rakeboy across, but there's no one there. Not really sure if that was the kind of ball to play, and it's an own goal by Crazy. Not only that, cutting off his teammate, who probably had a better chance of saving it away. Cairo was well positioned to save, and Crazy, for some reason, felt the need to cut across him. And it does feel like those mistakes, those bad elements of the play from games 1 and 3 are creeping back in as they go further behind.
this is a crazy couple of seconds here. There's a million things I could say, but it just seems like the communication, the consistency that Origin was showing in last game and even in game 2, it's just it can vanish as quick as it starts to show. It's you gave a lot of heat for the guy challenging the ball on that second goal here, but honestly, I don't think that's where the mistake started. There was a free ball for a player. I can't remember exactly who it was, and I'm not trying to point names, but there was a completely free ball, and the said player just opted to leave the ball, which put the guy that challenged in the end in a very, very awkward position where he's not close enough to reach the ball first, but he's also too far away to be able to have any impact on the challenge in the first place. So it's kind of, the team play has gone down and it seems like Anubis is enjoying every single moment of it right now. They're really turning up the heat.
Yeah, it just seems like a complete lack of organisation, positionally, defensively, and Anubis, quite unsurprisingly, are having a field day. They've already racked up 4 goals, and if Origin don't get their act together, it could get a whole lot worse, as Masters does play at middle, but doesn't really go anywhere with it. And now back into the corner it goes. Crazy up to not to challenge, which is quite surprising considering they're 4 goals down. They need something to get themselves back into a game, and they're opting not to go for it. I'm not really sure what the thought process behind that is. I'm not sure if maybe they're scared of going even further behind, but there's no one back. As well, I said there's no one back. There's Crazy was there to save it on the line, trying to go on the counter-attack. Great boy off the middle, but there's no one there. Crazy just too late, as the second man already committed, does make the save, and they do keep it out again, but it is Ryu back into middle. Great boy does make the clearance, only as well as Jazz off the backboard. As A1 there to defend, there is, as Origin, it looks like they are starting to get their act together. I'm not sure if that 4th goal was a kick up the backside that they need, but it might be too late for them in that regard, as they haven't really looked like scoring. It's all well and good shoring up the defence, but you need some goals. When you're 4-0 down with 1 minute to go, you really need to throw everything at it, because it's verging on impossible. You need something to go your way, and it just hasn't.
Yeah, Rigby here, gonna touch it forward. It is gonna be a bit of a bad attempt at a flick there, which means now a counter-attack is open for Origin. Kairu not really gonna be able to do much off of the pass from Rigby. Rigby now still on 0 boost, going for the 50. It's a good one. Jazz not able to make good contact on this one. It's an open net, but it's not being converted by Kairu. But he does get the demo here though, opens up the goal. A little bit of a poor shot by Crazy, but that means Rigby ends up getting the freebie. It is a little bit too little, too late from Origin here. But you definitely want to see them turn up the pressure going into the next game here.
Yeah, and it does seem like they've got their act together defensively at least, which is good to see. But as I said before, it's too late in the day, at least in this game at least. If we can carry it through the rest of the series, then we have a good chance. But this game 5 is done. There's 0 seconds left. We are 4-1 down, and we haven't really looked that dangerous. And I have seen that they have called a timeout, and off the back of that game, you can't really be too surprised about that.
I believe it's 2 minutes after the timer ends. Can I just get a confirmation from production there? So there has been called a timeout, and production just questioned. I was just trying to get a confirmation. It's 2 minutes after the next match timer ends, right? Okay, and I have got confirmation. It is exactly 2 minutes after the timer ends. So the players are gonna have 2 minutes now to discuss what they want to change, what they need to do to bring this one home on the side of Origin. Because this game didn't look the prettiest, but you could say the same about the other 2 games they lost, and then you can say the exact opposite about the games they won. It's just a bit up and down for both teams here. Both sides could still win it. I still believe Origin could take this one home. But what I expect to see is probably they win this next game here, just off of how this series has gone, and then Anubis just takes the next game, because that's how this series seems to go. But yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does seem like there's a bit of a pattern forming in this series where it goes Anubis, then Origin, then Anubis, and Origin, and now it's gone back to Anubis. And so if we continue to follow that pattern, then it does follow that Origin will win the next game, although Anubis, if it can weather the storm of that timeout, then they do have a chance to flip the script, but it's just a matter of whether Origin. I mean, they have got a lot to talk about. I mean, those mistakes in game 1, the overcommits and the double commits in game 3. If we can fix them, it kind of seemed like the defensive structure was just almost non-existent for the first 3 minutes of that game 5, and then the 4th goal, and then it took the 4th goal going in for them to get their act together, to regain that defensive structure, and they'll be hoping that regaining the defensive structure and the timeout to really halt Anubis' momentum, they'll be hoping that does the trick for this series.
Yeah, I think on the side of Origins, you just need to calm the nerves of every player. I don't know if that's what's going on, because it seems a bit weird that it's one game, you don't see any spark there at all. The next game, they turn up, and you see them playing exactly how they want to play the game. And then the next game is straight back to you. It's just not working. It's just strange. It's not often you see this big of a difference in how a team plays. Of course, in this tier, you do obviously almost always in every season see a series go back and forth by big goal lines, right? But I don't recall having seen a match where a team looks this disorganized and then organized and then this disorganized from each game to another one. It's very strange.
Yeah, it is. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's like they win game 1 comfortably, then they think they can just like sit back, and then they get punished, and then they have to. It's also like a cycle of like they lock in, then they lock out, then they lock in, then they lock back out again. And I think if it could just stay locked in the entire time, then they can go on and win it. I think that's the thing. It's just inconsistency. They need to stay consistent. They need to stay 100% the entire time, and they just haven't. They've just let games. And you could say that for both teams, but particularly Origin. It's like Origin have definitely looked capable of winning every game. It's just that, especially the games they lost, they threw it away. And now for game 6, it's crazy getting the first goal after only 12 seconds.
Maybe Origin has just figured out exactly what they want to do. I don't know, it's crazy again. He was the man of the hour last game they won, which was game 4, I believe. And he's already turned up in this game 6. He really does not want to go to that lower bracket. The team that loses here in this series, they are not out of the tournament yet, but it does put them down in that lower bracket where it all of a sudden becomes 10 times easier, or 10 times harder, sorry, to make it to that final, because you then have twice the amount of games to play, and it's every single hour. Instead of having an hour break in between your games, if you keep winning, you now have to play every single hour until the grand final. And even in the grand final, you might get like a little 10-15 minute break depending on how the series go, but that is all you get. Jazz though is gonna find an equalizer pretty early on from Anubis here, so this game is not over yet. It's not just gonna be Origin running away with it.
I mean, that is an incredible touch by Jazz, and very well set up by Masters. Played it exactly where it needed to go, and Jazz is an excellent finishing touch beyond the onrushing defender. And Anubis, what a way to get yourselves back in. They nearly got another one, but it was blocked on the line. That one just too high by Masters, although the net was covered very well. Jazz very high on that, hoping that there's a flop. And it is Masters, but it is wide. And to be fair, it wasn't the easiest angle to score from, as Anubis looking to build up that pressure, but now it's just broken down. Now a chance, and it's passed to Rake Boy, but there's a block coming in. And Now, after his couple of spells of pressure, it's an open goal, but the angle was against Ryu. And normally, you can't look back at those open goals and think they really should be scored, but it was a very tight angle. So I think you can kind of forgive him for that, as Breakboy just getting bullied by the Anubis defense, as it is still one game each. This ball or backboard has to be dealt with, although there's no one challenging from Origin. I'm quite surprised by that. I feel that ball was there to be won, but there's just no one there. You can't. It's like even if you just have like one player going and the other two staying back just in case it doesn't go the right way, but no one wanted to go for it. I'm not quite sure why. So it is a corner, Crazy turning on that and now going for a demo, but Ryu was already up. And Anubis, they do find a way out. It is Masters with a 50 across goal, but there's no one there to follow up. And Origin can clear their lines.
Yep, Rio. We have seen Rio on 0 boost in the back end a lot this series. I'm starting to wonder if that's going to be a weakness on this team. If you can just push that ball back while Rio's back, and he's most likely going to be on 0 boost because he seems to struggle a lot in finding that boost. However, it's going to be Cairo this time pushing the ball forward. Rio on boost this time is going to be able to take a touch. Masters backing him up here. Gonna take a touch to the side while Jazz taking over there. Cairo trying to get that 50, but it's actually going in favor of Anubis. But Rio is just absolutely smashed that ball away out of harm's way for Origin and just become that 4th defender that they might have desperately needed in this series. A great shot by Crazy there, but it's blocked away by Masters. Jazz is gonna take care of this one. Breakboy seemed to be going for a little bit of a bump there, but not able to get it. Actually gets demoed instead. Jazz keeping this one on this left side here. Now Cairo gets it past him. Breakboy gonna have some time to work with here. Gonna take it straight around Masters. The very experienced player that you talked about earlier on. Making look like a fool after respawn here. Gets absolutely sold on that fake by Breakboy and just gets it lobbed over him. It's a great play.
I mean, when you're last player back, you can't. I think he just kind of felt the need to like lunge in, just make the challenge. But Breakboy, he had the ball under control. He had Masters like a puppet on a string, and Origin, they retake their lead. Oh, you must say, Anubis, they had plenty of chances to take a lead of their own, but they just could not take them. And now they are paying the price. Now Crazy not quite under control, but does force a 50, and now the ball is there to be won by Breakboy. Plays it to middle. Cairo is up for it. The last man got bumped, and Origin extend their lead. That might just be the goal to send them to game 7.
Yep, and historically it has been Breakboy who has been causing a lot of disruption in that backline, but this time it's Crazy. And it's good to see the entire team getting involved in these plays on the side of Origin. That is just what you need if you want to get back into this series. If they are to win this one, which it looks very likely that they are. I'm sorry if I just cast the curse it, but it does look very, very reasonable to think that this is going to be a game 7. It is going to be all up in the air. It doesn't matter how much you've struggled in this series. You have one more game that you need to lock in, but that's a great shot by Masters. And this is going to creep its way in. So I'm just gonna hold my horses for a little bit because we still have 33 seconds of Rocket League left to be played. Only 1 goal separates them now. And Anubis could be making this comeback to try and close this series out before we get to game 7.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what. It wasn't like that bad of a shot from Masters, but it's you're just not expecting that. You're expecting someone to save that shot. They just didn't, and now they've equalised. And Origin, some very slack defending on the second goal. They've been caught out again. Kara's the last player back. I mean, to be fair, he's awkward. The shot does come in with a lot of power on it. And you could argue his two teammates should have done a better job at challenging, at cutting the ball out. But I think it's just kind of like snowballed for them. And Anubis, they're taking the wind in their sails. But now they have some more defending to do. They can't let that comeback go to waste. That's a good 50 on Crazy. As it goes into middle, Cairo does make the initial stop as it's into the corner. Masters off the ceiling now, on to Jazz. Back to Masters as it's off the backboard and back touch. Too far away for Rio. but Anubis, they have done enough to force overtime. They could yet win it in Game 6 and avoid that dreaded lower bracket. And historically, in terms of like, if you want to win the whole tier, going into the lower bracket at this stage is a death sentence for your hopes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think a single team has ever won a tier dropping into a lower bracket at this point. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but to my knowledge, I don't think that has ever happened. So
I do believe it has happened in Masters. I do believe it has happened in the Masters here. I think Smashy, oh no, sorry, I think, what is he called? Cash, my bad, Cash. I think Cash has won it after dropping into the lowers at this point. But that is also a different breed, you know. You go in the Master tier, and everyone looks really good, but then you have Cash that is just that exceptional that he makes it look easy. This one is gonna drop to Kairu. I was gonna make a point of, it might not be a Game 7 overtime we have right now, but it is a Game 6 overtime. You have on one side Origin fighting for their life in this upper bracket. On the other side, you have Anubis fighting to just close this series out that they've been trying so hard to do. Kairu is gonna have a chance to stay in this for one more game. It is gonna be Rakeboy. It is a shot. It is just gonna creep in. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna have another game to decide who makes it through this upper bracket and who is gonna have to lower their expectations after tonight and just fight on the coming Saturday, I believe it is. It is Saturday, right?
it is.
Yep, so we're gonna see who is gonna go into this Saturday with higher confidence after this next match. Everything on the line now.
It is, and it looks like it's a continuation of a pattern. Origin, they have not won back-to-back games in the series, but neither have Anubis. And it does seem like there's a bit of commotion in the chat that I'm not sure if it's Masters has to go in the battle bus if it goes to Game 7. I'm not sure what that's about, and it'll be interesting to see whether he goes through with it or not. I'm not sure if he anticipated this is going to Game 7. I'm not sure if he'll be regretting not winning it in 6 if that is the case, if he does have to honour that agreement. But there has not been a timeout called, so it looks like we will be going straight to Game 7. And Anubis, they almost pulled it back, but just not quite got completely over the line. On Origin, they hold on and they get it done in overtime.
So this is where patterns are either broken or completed. If Anubis wins this game, we have successfully gone a complete series by swapping games after every single game. It's the exact opposite team, and it looks like, don't blame me right now, but it looks like that pattern is being completed right now.
And we do see Masters get a goal, and he has gone back on his word. We do not see the battle bus coming out. I'm not sure if there's like any truth to that agreement or not, but it looks like he could get another one, but that one off a post. And a follow-up off a post as well. Anubis, they've come flying out the gates in Game 7. They only have one goal to show for it, but they are starting this Game 7 with purpose, with intention to win, as Masters is forced into making that touch there. Jazz takes over, and also it's looking like there's a bit more control, there's a bit more purpose about it. They know what they're doing. They aren't just hitting it for the sake of it. They aren't just like driving around for the sake of it. They have structure, they have intent, and Pyro trying to commit as last man, but there's a good 50, and now that could be awkward. There's a team bump, and Crazy can't quite get a proper hold of it. Has to turn back, leaves it for Rakeboy, goes into build, but there's no one there. It's an easy clearance for Rio, but only as far as Crazy, and now Cairo going up for it. He gets beaten to it, and now it's Rakeboy. It's off a backboard, but Masters does make the clearance, but it comes back to Crazy, off a backboard, and Anubis, they do withstand their pressure without either conceding a shot on target, and now they go for Rin to get a second one.
I was gonna say Origins looks like a different team this time around that they have in all of their previous game losses, but It is a great play out of the corner there by Jazz, setting Ryu up with just a little bit of a freebie. Just has to hit the ball on target and it will be a goal. And that is just what we saw. But Origin still fighting back. It's not over yet. Only 2 goals separates them. Anubis could make the comeback in the last game. Now can Origin do the same? Breakboy, a little bit of a weak shot. He's gonna stay in the way of Jazz, which leaves Cairo to put a pass for Crazy, but the side flip and the miss by Masters. This is Academy, ladies and gentlemen. Get used to it, because this is what you're gonna be seeing pretty much all week as Cairo goes for a double tap and just can't quite make the contact and will not get the goal out of it.
Yeah, I think it's just got the wrong side of it on the second touch, and I think with the 2 goals, I think normally when Origin concedes more of a couple of goals, it's down to like defensive phase, but I think Anubis, they've really showed up, they've really turned it up offensively, and now Crazy going for a double tap of zone, sets up Breakboy, but his shot gets blocked, and Anubis, I talk about them turning it up offensively, they've put in the work defensively as well. As Origin, they are starting to try a bit more, they are starting to have that inventiveness, and they do find a way through, courtesy of Breakboy, just brought it down under control, the flick pass, off a post, and there the follow-up, just did it all by himself. A little bit of individual brilliance keeps Origin in this game 7, and you have to say, they needed it. It looked like they were having real difficulty breaking down the Anubis defense, but they do eventually find a way through.
Yeah, and that just goes back to what I said earlier. You know how I said that Anubis, they like to go for optimistic aerial plays? That was one of them by Jazz. He went for a ball without knowing exactly how he was going to impact the play. Ended up diming up Rakeboy with a nice pass. And what did Rakeboy do? He took it under control and carried and flicked it onto the post and then finished it himself. But look at Cairo here, getting a pass by Rakeboy, a nice little pop pass. And what a dunk it is onto Jazz. Just recognizes that Jazz is just going to try and boom that ball, gets in the way of it, and just acts as a little bit of a blockade for that clear for Jazz, and just rebounds the goal, or the ball straight into the goal, my bad. But it is now an even game. Everything is back to square one. The first time we've seen Origin recover after throwing for the first half of a game. And well, I don't know how to call this game anymore. I don't know who's gonna win it. It is everything up for grabs right now. It is gonna be Cairo here, going for a little bit of a play, going for the dunk. That could have been it, but it just won't make its way in. Crazy now, gonna try it off the backboard, gonna try to look for Rakeboy. That means Cairo now back with low boost, gonna get a good 50. Masters versus Crazy here. Crazy gonna hit it into the corner, gonna have a follow-up here, gonna leave it. Masters getting a 50. It should be Jazz, but he misses the ball. Rio now goes up, hits it towards the backboard. Crazy with a whiff. Masters has a chance, but can only get it towards the corner. Now Crazy gonna challenge Jazz. Jazz into the corner here, gonna pop it up. Masters getting beaten out by Rakeboy. A big clearance, very much needed for Origin. A centered ball for Cairo, and he makes good on it. Now Anubis on the back end with 55 seconds left. The first time they have given up a lead in this fashion, and do you think they have the spirit to fight back at this point, GM?
Honestly, I'm not sure if they do. They haven't been in this position in this series. It's unfamiliar territory for them. And Origin, when they take a lead, they usually hold on to it. And I don't see how that will be any different this time around. It is only a 1-goal lead. So all it takes is one mishap, maybe one moment of magic from Anubis. There's a pass in, but it doesn't reach Ryu. Is there anyone back for Anubis as Jazz makes a last-ditch challenge? And I think they can sense that they cannot afford to concede again. For as long as the ball stays up, for as long as it's only a 1-goal deficit, they can still believe that they still have a chance. As Rakeboy, that's a good clearance, not particularly long one, but gets it away from immediate danger as there's a challenge as Jazz into a corner. Crazy has to ground it, but now it's back to Jazz, playing it into the middle, but Karu, that's a good touch, and Masters tries to keep it up, and Rakeboy grounds it, and that is Origin. They do flip the script, they do win it in Game 7, they do keep themselves in the upper bracket, and now Anubis, they have that notorious lower bracket to deal with. It's going to be interesting to see whether they can get through it, or if it is, how I previously mentioned, going to be a death sentence for their title hopes.
Yep, and the pattern has been broken. We saw it back and forward the whole time. This time, it looked like it was just gonna be another game in the pattern. It looked like it was gonna be Anubis' game. But as we mentioned earlier, Origin, they didn't look beaten. They didn't look like they gave up like they did in the other games. They fought back, goal by goal, chance by chance, save by save. They clawed their way back into this game, and they didn't concede a single goal after that second one. And they managed to find free ones. It's great play all around by Origin. They really deserve to get the win here tonight. And also a fun fact, I believe I heard Masters say at some point that he's never lost a Game 5 or a Game 7. Well, I guess there has to be a first for everything. And while he's not out of the tournament, it is going to be a bit of a blow, but I hope to see a great one by them in the lower bracket come Saturday. And also, Origin might be a team to look out for. If they can take some lessons out of this series, if they can just use that to fine-tune their gameplay a little bit, they could be a game to look out for come Saturday. But
Yeah.
before then, we have one more day of Academy playoffs. It will be tomorrow. But after that, Saturday is the next time Academy is up. Before we go anywhere though, we have a series MVP right here. It is going to be Crazy, who you called out earlier on. Getting 2 goals in one game and then 2 goals over the other 6 games. 4 assists to his name, 11 saves, 9 demos. Great showing up by Crazy here.
And I mean, as I mentioned, he has come back after a long time away, and you have to say, maybe, and was it the phrase, rolling back the years, as it were. I wanted to say 6 or 7 years ago, but then that would result in one of the more disliked jokes. But what that means for a bracket is that Anubis drop into a lower bracket. Anubis continue in the upper bracket. Anubis will play Purpose in the upper semi-final, and Origin will play Xinjiang in. Wait, that's wrong. It's Origin playing Purpose and Anubis playing Xinjiang. Started in the first round of the lower bracket, and for tomorrow we'll have Livers versus Calidus. Winner of that playing Riffle, and in the upper bracket Husky taking on Drengir. So still plenty of action to come. Still plenty of Academy players bracket to be played. So be sure to tune in tomorrow. But that is all from us for tonight.
Yes, and thank you all for being here with us. We do have 6 days out of 7 days for the coming, well, this week and then the next 2 weeks, I believe, where we have 6 out of 7 days is playoffs being streamed for you. So a lot of Rocket League to come, and every single week it's going to be leveling up in gameplay. So make sure you follow along that journey. Make sure you follow along every single winner being crowned. And we also have Prospect to be played this week, so also stay tuned for that. But for now, that was it. As you said, GM, thank you all for coming along.
Yeah. Oh, and one thing we forgot to mention, we do need to go through the sponsors. So just go through them quickly. Got Badass Studios, been helping out RSC for a long time. SpartanWare, for if you want like any merchandise. Got trophi.ai for your coaching needs, and if you think you're buying anything in the Epic Store, be sure to use code rsc-eu. Really helps us out. But that, for real, that is all for tonight.
wear when they... This isn't just merch. It's what teams wear when they mean business. Every stitch, every print, every detail, made to perform. Trusted by the grind, from grassroots to championship halls. Build your team store. Wear the brand that wins. SpartanWare, trusted by the grind.